Hey guys, are you able to hear me? Just let me know over the chat box, guys. Are you able to hear me? Yeah, Ganesh, you are able to hear me? What about others, guys? Are you able to? Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Shivangi. Thanks, Ganesh. So, guys, who amongst you is joining for the first time? Just let me know who is joining for the first time. Shivangi, you are joining for the first time. Okay. What about the others? Shuparna has been joining, I know. Shivangi is joining. Whatever, Vaibhav, Deepak, Ganesh, Madhur. Guys, if anyone has joined me earlier in some other webinars, if you have any questions, just let me know. And it's a good time when we can have a chat if you want to discuss anything in context of your career, anything that on which you may have some thoughts around, would like to clarify. So this is a good time, So let's make the best out of that. And just let me know which part of India you are joining from in the chat box. If you can just write down which part of India you are joining from. Shivangi, you're from Bhopal. Okay, I've done a number of projects in Bhopal. What do you call the name of the airport in Bhopal? Raja Bhoj or something like that, right? The name of the airport is, and quite a number of lakes are also there. Yeah, yeah. So I've been to Bhopal a couple of times. Yeah. Ganesh is from Kalyan. Kalyan means uh, Mumbai Kalyan, right? Ganesh. What about others, guys? Deepak, Joel, how are you doing, Joel? Vaibhav, Rahul. Guys, just let me know which part of India you are joining from. And if you have any questions, just let me know. It's a good time to have a chat, right? And we'll start in 5, 6 minutes. So, how many of you are excited to learn as to how to fund a biscuit manufacturing company? Write excited in the chat box if you are, guys, and if you're eager to learn. So that Joel, I love your spirit, dear, and this is going to take you long. This real hunger of learning is something that is the only thing that's required. The rest, everything can be taught. If someone is not really having the hunger, then it's very difficult. So keep the spirit high, and I'm sure we are going to go long. Yeah, yeah, Madhur. So Joel, any questions on this? Is the set of past webinars that you have joined? Any thoughts? Anything? Any after getting back to your house? Sorry, after the webinar got over, did you think about anything like anything that you would like to know about? Just let me know. So Joel, the thing is, I can make, but then what's happening is that people won't be able to relate to what I'm trying to say. The way if I'm explaining something, obviously the connect gets to be more. So that's why I'm shifting off from that Excel sheet mode to this mode, because when you discuss something, the people appreciate it more. So that's why. Otherwise, you have seen those videos, I think, where I have discussed on that. So I think this is a better way of I'll be conducting webinars, and I think that's the better way. Guys, just let me know which part of India you are joining from, and if it's for the first time you are joining the webinar, just let me know in the chat box that you are joining for the first time. So just let me know. Hi Kavita. Good evening. Just let me know in the chat box what is your thought, initial thought when you have read about this topic. What was your thought? What is the thing? What is the thing that you want to learn or want to get a sense about? If you can just let me know on the chat box, that will help me to address your specific requirement better. So just if you can let me know on that. And whoever is joining for the first time, just let me know who is joining for the first time. Is it that everyone is joining? So if someone is joining for the second, third time, just give me a this thing now. Say if it is more than once, give me a two in the chat box. Or if you have joined earlier in any webinar, give me a two in the chat box, which I never gave a thought earlier. Okay, yeah, Varun, that's the objective. Oh, six. Nidhi is joining for sixth time. Okay, good, good. Kavita, you have nine times. So is it that you are joining all the time? Good, Kavita. I hope I'm delivering value to you. That's great to know. Aces for the first time. Okay, Joel also for the ninth time. Okay, Sishendu for the second time, Suparna for the seventh time. I think Suparna, you were not there the last day, right? Because that's the power of switching on the video. You tend to remember, right? Varun, welcome Varun for the first time. Bhagalakshmi for the first time. Yeah, Varun. Okay, Varun, you are also joining all the time. Okay, good. Eighth time. Ravi for the first time. Yeah, she into this business which I never paid attention to, despite it being in life. Knowing how such a conveyance fund is also great, great Shivangi. Rajesh for the first time. Good, good to see you, Rajesh. So it's almost nine. So just let us wait for 2, 3 more minutes, and we'll start. So who is it that? Uh, so if you can just write in the chat box which part of India you are joining in from, guys. Yeah, you have missed the last one, Suparna. Yeah, who is joining? Which part of India you are joining from? As Shivangi said, she's from Bhopal. Ganesh is from Kalyan. Vema is from Mumbai. Okay. Kavita from Ahmedabad. Vema, are you joining for the first time or you have joined earlier? Kavita is from Ahmedabad. Joel from Bangalore. Okay. Sarfat from Tamil Nadu. Varun. Okay. Bhagyalakshmi from Bangalore. Rajesh from Ahmedabad. Sis from Ahmedabad. Rancho, Karnataka. Okay. Ahmedabad. Sisendu, Barasat, West Bengal. Okay. Where you stay in Barasat, Sisendu? Dak Banglo more. Right, and then last webinar. Okay. 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 We stay in Dak Banglo only, Sisendu. Okay. Good. Good. Manish Devan, Mumbai. Just 2 more minutes, guys, and we'll start. Jyoti, you stay in Darling and Jyoti. Manish in Mumbai. Where in Mumbai, Manish? Which part of Mumbai you stay? Abbas. Hi, hi, Abbas. How are you doing? Andheri West. Okay. So I used to stay in the Andheri East side of it, Powai. Good. Good to see you guys. So, same place high school. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So, guys, let's start. So, So, first of all, a warm welcome to you. I hope you are able to hear me clearly, and good to see many of you joining the webinar multiple number of times. So, there are a few guys. This my consecutive ninth webinar in the knowledge series of investment banking career. So, whoever is joining for the first time, let me tell you what is the objective of conducting these webinars. So, the primary objective of conducting these webinars is to give you a first-hand understanding of what actually happens in the investment banking space in a more practical manner, right? So that uh, it's I believe in the fact that if suppose if you intend to go for a visit, say outside India somewhere, so you must be knowing how the place is, what can be expected of the place, right? So if you know that you have seen some videos about say Switzerland or some photographs around Switzerland, so you get to understand, okay, this is the place where I need to visit, right? So the objective is of this webinar within the constraint of time is to give you that that view, right? That this is what Switzerland is, and that is the place where if you are able to do these activities, this is where you can possibly reach. So how the end goal looks like, if you get a clarity around that, then your objective of reaching out to that section of the work, that nature of work, that I increases manifold, right? So is the voice clear, guys? Voice is very low.
Second.
Is it clear, guys? Is it clear now? Just let me know. Much better now. Yeah. Thanks. Right. So, but I hope you got a sense, right? What I said just now. So, if you agree to what agree to me to what I said just now, give me a in the chat box that you also think in a similar manner. That if the destination is clear to you, if you know where you are reaching, what nature over here, what is the destination is in terms of what we need to do when we are working somewhere, right? And what is the set of expectation that comes from the industry side, so that we can be better prepared, better equipped, and have better understanding around things, and we can follow that, right? So that's the entire objective of this webinar as on today, and all the knowledge series webinars that I've been conducting, right? So guys, thanks for joining. So I hope I make this uh, time for you more fruitful in terms of whatever you are going to learn down the line, right? So guys, so today we are going to discuss about suppose see so whenever you'd be joining these webinars, I would suggest that you try to wear the hat, right? So uh, uh, wear the hat of say investment banker, or maybe a commercial banker, or maybe the corporate who is raising the finance, right? So you have to wear the hat at different points of time and try to understand what would be the role, what would be the way you have to look into whenever such an exercise comes up, right? So as I always keep on saying that there are three sections of people. Let me just explain to you once. Just give me a second. Right. So guys, in any transaction, there are uh, especially three sets of people, right? One is this is uh, the bank, right? So if you are looking for finance, the bank or the financial institution who is going to extend you the finance, right? Who is the second one? The second one is the investment banker, who is going to help, and the third one is the corporate, right, who is actually looking for the finance. So these are the three set of people, right, and each one is like interdependent on each other. Now this guy, the corporate who is looking for finance, he could have gone directly to the bank or financial institutions asking for the finance, right? But why they don't go directly? They do go, but in certain cases, if it's some uh, uh, big size funding, I mean to say, which is not if a person is looking for home loan, obviously he or she is not going to go to a investment banker, right? He or she would directly go to a bank or a financial institution. But then if it is something which is worth in crores, then obviously they would go to a investment banker over here. Now why they go through that, let me ask you this question first. Let me understand what is your take on this. Why people go through investment banker in the first place? Just let me know in the chat box, guys. What is your thought? What is the reason as to why they go through investment banking company and not directly to the bank asking for finance? Just let me know over the chat box, guys. Okay, so Joel says loan size is large, easy process and contacts. Or Manisha says because the guide the better, maybe expertise of the IB network. Yeah, expertise. They may not how to run a business, but less of finance funding or getting the loan at a lower percentage. They provide credibility and project feasibility reports. Great, I'm getting some very good answers. Right. So let me take one. So guys, keep on writing. I'll uh, uh, let me address. So Joel, the thing is, loan size is large. That's the that's one of the reason. But then, what is the real reason, right? Loan size is large. That's fine. But then, what stops them to directly go to the bank? This is not the reason, right? As Verma says, easy process and contacts, obviously. So this is what one of the reason is that if they are going through the investment bank, the company can leverage on the contacts which this investment banker has with the banks, because this investment banker is not doing this exercise only with this company but many other companies as well. And due to their continuous reach out to this particular branches and financial institutions, they have personal connects, and this personal connects also makes a lot of difference. So that is one reason. Because the guide the better, maybe, absolutely. So guidance in terms of the so that the corporates don't really waste energy and time not knowing the right method and process, right? So this is, see, the in a way, the way a coach helps you, a trainer helps you, right? So in a similar manner, an investment banker helps in giving the right guidance and direction. Madhur says expertise of the IB network. Absolutely. I already spoke about that, Madhur. Expertise, AK, absolutely. They may not know how to run a business. Absolutely, Nitin. This is one of the reasons that the corporate may be knowing how to make biscuits, right? But they have no sense as to how to raise the finance. So it's always better to take the help of someone who understands that. Chirag says for getting the loan at a lower percentage, so better negotiation, right? So that is where Chirag is coming from. So if it is that as because the IB knows the what is the rate at, see, when the banks also extend finance, there is a level of negotiation that goes on, right? So to ensure that they can give better rates to the corporate so that they need to pay lesser interest and processing fees, that is how they make a difference. Nishant says they provide credibility and project feasibility reports. Absolutely, Nishant. This is one of the reason, obviously. As I keep on mentioning, whoever has attended my earlier webinars, that the company has to place across reports to this to the bank, a detailed report, so that the bank understand what the plan is, right? So investment bankers help to create such reports to make more sense. they do really good due diligence of the company to help the bank to give loans, right? Yeah, Joel, they look after all compliance part as well. Rajkumar Pitta says absolutely more concentration on the business rather than looking for finance. Um, Absolutely, yeah, Varun, right? So they can focus on the business part of it rather than on the finance. Have network with other banks and firms which help them to get the funds side. Absolutely, Abhishek, they know how much could they get with their current economic status. Yeah, absolutely. So investment bank have a fair bit of sense as to what is the level of funding the banks would be okay with, right? Suparna says they can analyze the company and help for raising capital. Absolutely. Uh, Nishant, valuation, if valuation is required, then surely they know comparatively better understanding of valuation research. Absolutely, Dolly. Right. So I think Dolly also keeps on joining, right? So what's the number of time, Dolly, you have been attending the webinar? Have you attended all the nine, or lesser than that? Anyways, so guys, so you by this time I got a means you have got a fair bit of sense as to why people uh, go through a investment bank. And let me tell you, this is a very important question that comes up in a interview, right? So why people come to us, say I'm the investment banking company, you have come for interview. So these are very one of the very basic questions that people ask, right? So let's move forward, guys. So as I've done the last time also, so I guys, please understand this is a live project on which I've personally worked. So this is around about 2013 or 14 that I have been. So I used to head the team. So this is done by like me and my team, right? So so the thing is that I'm going to give you glimpses of this. I cannot really share everything with you, right? But then there is a certain uh, uh, specifics which I would like to discuss with you, with the sole objective that this learning is not going to only help you in context of like it's going to help you in whichever context of finance you go to, whether it's in equity research, M&A, project financing, credit analysis, credit rating, fundamental analysis. So irrespective of which areas of finance you are, this sensibility, if you are carrying with you, is going to help you everywhere, right? So with that perspective, let us understand. So here we are, a company has come up. They are looking for finance for setting up a biscuit manufacturing company. So obviously it starts with, there are certain aspects around technical aspects, which I'm not going to discuss in this webinar. There is a management analysis aspect that is also not something which I'm going to cover. I'm going to more or less cover in those specific areas around the industry which the bankers or the investment bankers look into, and also I'll show you how a financial model flow in from there, right? So let's move into this. So guys, let me show it over here. Yeah. So guys, as because we are speaking about, so keep note of the broader heads on which I'm discussing this thing, right? So this is very important for you to keep a note as to which are the broader heads on which you have to do this analysis, right? So obviously we are speaking about something around a product like Biscuit, which can be like sold across India, right? So please understand, whenever you are doing an analysis of a product which can be sold across India or outside India as well, right? There the way you look about things would be widely different if from a product which is very um, local. I mean to say a hospital project, or say a real estate project, or say a resort or a hotel, right? So there the way you analyze is different. So I'll touch upon that also in some other webinar going forward, right? So over here, let's start with understanding the consumption pattern, right? So how the biscuit manufacturing company biscuit consumption is compared to the rest of the world, right? So as we see over here, uh, and again the same thing which I have discussed in the earlier webinar also, like from where we can source this data, I will touch upon at the last, so don't worry about that. But then let us go with the flow as to what are the set of things we really need to look into, right? So as we see over here, and this is going to give you some real interesting insights also about this industry, right? And please understand, as I said, the data points are 6 7 years back, right? So objective is not to give you a live data stuff, but to give you a flow as to how the things have to be looked into, right? And once you get that, data points can always be revised, so that's not our worry, right? So certain things we may be discussing which was relevant in the past, which may not be relevant today, that's absolutely fine. But how, see, whenever you go for an interview, uh, it's your flow of thought that's going to be tested. Whether you are saying it correctly or wrong, that is not really the aspect on which someone tests you, right? So how the flow of thought goes, that is what I'm trying to uh, place across over here. So as you see over here, so US, UK, Western Europe, this is the highest of the consumption that happens, followed with Japan, Southeast Asia, and then comes India and then China, right? So this is how the biscuit consumption happens across the on the global arena. And in India, if we see, the consumption pattern is more or less the same among the East zone, South zone, West zone, and North zone, with the East zone slightly higher, roughly around 27%. So this gives us some insights. So as we see, India is the third largest producer of biscuits in the world after US and China, and it's 1/10 of the Indian FMCG sector. So this is significant, right? So this segment accounts for 1/10 of the Indian FMCG sector and the largest component of Indian processed food segment, right? And the per capita consumption in the country is one of the lowest, with East, including Northeast zone, leading with roughly 27% of the share. And there is also a clear demarcation in biscuit consumption trade in urban and rural areas. And penetration of biscuits in the country has reached 75%, up from 60% level that was reigning 4 years back, right? So penetration in urban markets alone has reached 90%, right? So there's a uh, penetration which is really happening, which is increasing over a period of time, right? So guys, think from the context of whether you'd like to invest in some biscuit manufacturing company. That is a, I would say, there's a good way of looking into whether you'd like to invest in their stocks, right? So if you think from that angle, then I think this would generate more interest in you. Then the next part is we need to understand what's the market structure, right? So what is the classification of the market in this segment? So the major aspect that goes over here is the glucose biscuits, which is 50%, followed by you have cookies, cream biscuits. They are both 20%, with the Mary biscuits around 10%. So that's more or less the classification. And so biscuit segment in the country is divided into four types. We saw glucose, cookies, cream biscuits, and Mary, right? And the dominant is account of its prices. I mean to say the glucose part of it, because of the lower price among the four types, and it being present in the market for the longest period of time. So this is how the consumption stuff is something which we are getting a sense about. So we are digging deep in terms of understanding this industry. So guys, let me know if you have any question till this point of time, or shall we move forward? Okay, shall I make it full screen? Okay, is it better, guys, now? Nitin, it is primarily for debt. It's debt funding that the bank is looking for, right? So guys, do you have any question? Just let me know till this point of time. Any thoughts, any questions? Is it interesting, guys? Give me a quick A in the chat box if the concept is interesting, the subject is interesting, the topic is interesting. Because if I see, if I get to know that you are finding it interesting, I can do it for hundreds of such topics, right? So that is something which I would be eager to know. Uh, Madhu says, sir, is this volume based segment or value based? This is purely volume based, Madhu. But it's a good point. In fact, the last webinar which I had done, where I discussed on what was the yeah that was on power sector. Yeah, so that there I had shown both the compositions, volume based or value based. But it's a good point. So wherever you can show both in terms of volume and value, you should be showing both of them, Madhur. Right. Right. This research would be also be done by the marketing or the finance team. So Rahul, when we are doing this research, right? We don't call it a marketing team or the finance team. Marketing is whoever is. Okay, so first let me understand the question better. Rahul, you are asking this in context of someone working, whoever is preparing this report. From that context, are you asking? Just let me know. Then it will help me to answer your question better. As I want to understand that we should look as an investor or the bank which is willing. So, Dolly, irrespective of wherever you're working, you need to understand the business better, right? And as I keep on saying, so to understand the business better, you need to uh, understand from all segments. This is the fun. So if you understand the underlying of economy, industry, company, project, then irrespective of wherever you are working, whether it's in an investment bank or corporate or bank, it remains the same, right? So this is the so you put any of the hats, right? And you can switch the hat also if you can. How many of you have read that book of Edward de Bono, the Six Hats or something like that? Please read that book if you have not. It's a very good book to read. uh, I forgot the exact title of the book. If you can do some Google research, Edward Bono, I guess the name of the author is. For me, then power sector. Okay, Jati. So when we say case study, it means about company research. No, case study means the how you have gone about investing in a particular company. So a series of things that you have done uh, for a particular company. So it is it means by that, right? So Shivangi, how big is the biscuit consumption market in India, sir? I didn't understand how the per capita low, but penetration rate is uh, so, Shivangi, what we mentioned over there is in terms of where India is standing vis-a-vis the other global counterparts, right? But then in India, the consumption level is high within India, right? So like consumption level when we say is high is in terms of whatever is being produced, that level of consumption is happening. But means that is getting sold up. But then with demand, obviously the production is going to get increased, right? Other way we will have to do the same type of research, meaning same flow of research. Yeah, same flow of research, right, Dolly? Right. So if you once I go take you through many sectors now, you will get a hang of how to do this set of research, right? And when then you go for any interview, I am sure you can really impress upon the person who is sitting on the other side, right? Ensure that you join this webinar, so it will give you a real clarity as to how the thought process shapes up, right? So good. Yeah. So Rahul says yes. I forgot the question, Rahul. In the meantime, I remember telling you to. Rahul, can you just drop the question again? I somehow missed out on that. I'll come back to your question. So let's move forward, guys. So this is the problem which I'm facing when I'm when okay. So guys, now the classification on the basis of price, right? So now there are different segments of this biscuit being placed across in the market. So you have economy segment which is lesser than 100 rupees, the middle segment which is between 100 to 150 rupees, the premium segment which is I think 125 to 150 rupees can be classified as the premium segment, and the super premium is roughly around the 150 rupees per kg sort of pricing, right? So this is based on the industry research that has been done. This is how we need to understand this, why we are doing this analysis, for us to understand that at what price points is this company coming up with the biscuits that they are going to sell in the market, right? So that we then accordingly need to dig deeper and understand whether it's economy segment or the middle segment or the premium segment, and then accordingly we can take a view around the demand of that particular section, right? So now that we now let us understand the market size of it. So as we see over here, the revenue of the companies has been increasing over the years, and the annual consumption is also more or less slightly has increased. It's not been a major increase in the annual consumption. So that needs to be understood whether it's because the demand is lesser, or is it that the capacity of production is limited, right? That is something which we need to understand going forward. Then we need to understand the usage segment, right? So who actually consume these sort of products? So as we see over here, so we have rural consumers on one side. Now something which we need to understand in context of rural market is that the smaller packet glucose biscuits priced at the lower end of the biscuit segment, they are economy products, right, are dominant in the rural market, and low disposable income is the chief reason behind this scenario, right? Let me just use this one, right? So is the chief reason behind this scenario. So although the share of glucose biscuits as a percent of total consumption is coming down, so it's a observation, right, that the share of glucose biscuits as a percentage of total consumption is coming down, because the other set of products, the cookies and the Mary biscuits, the consumption of that is increasing. This change is primarily driven by the urban consumers. So the urban consumers is shifting from glucose to the other types of biscuits that are coming up in the market. So in a bid to tap this market, biscuit makers introduced cream biscuits, so belonging to premium segment in small packets priced on par with biscuits in the economy segment. This development blurred the classification based on price, right? So so this is something which is an observation. And in context of urban consumers, it's been seen that the choice of product offering is the main differentiator for urban consumers. So they are getting many different types of offerings. So the choices are broader for urban consumers. Although pricing remains a major factor, the urban consumer is not averse to trying out new flavors, new types of biscuits. So urban consumers are open to the thought of trying out new biscuits. So these characteristics of urban consumers who belongs to the new breed of Indian middle class with higher disposable income. Now we are getting to understand that this affordability of premium segment biscuits or the mid-size segment biscuits, that is increasing because of the higher disposable income, which is getting considered in cities and is a driving force behind the introduction of new variants of biscuits, right? So now the fact that we are getting to understand that that is an influencing factor, then we obviously need to understand how the disposable income is going to move in the days to come, right? Because basis that a lot of decision has to be undertaken. So let's see from that context. So, so that brings out us to this section of demand and supply analysis. So where we are trying to understand, as because we in the last section we understood that there is a increasing disposable income. So let us understand how the income indicators are showing, right? So we see that the per capita income is increasing over the years. So roughly from 2007 to 2011, it has been increasing, and the total personal disposable income is also increasing. Where from we have got the data, I'll let you know at the last, right? So this is an increasing trend. So if we take that as a trend analysis and just extrapolate on that, so obviously the income level would increase, and if income level is increasing, then people would be more eager to try out newer products and variants and can move into the premium segments. So that is trend which we are getting to see, right? Now, few aspects like increasing disposable income, which we discussed. So globalization. So what is leading to this disposable income, right? Why this increase in disposable income is happening? So one is globalization, obviously, growth in skilled working population and rise of service sector has created this stuff. So this new class of population is characterized by high per capita income and high disposable income. During the period 2007-11, per capita income in the country has increased with a compounded annual growth rate of 6%, right? And the personal disposable income has increased at roughly 50%. So we have seen the graph that gave us some understanding. And with the rise in population with high disposable income and per capita income, so that has led into shifting saving patterns too. So saving rate of top 10 cities in India came down to 22%. So that means though the disposable income is increasing, but the propensity to save, that is falling, right? That means people are spending more. So this is going to give us some trend, right? So while those of next rank tier 2 tier 3 cities remained at a stable 29%. So they are this saving, so they are more cautious about the savings part of it, right? So these are few aspects which we need to look into and get a hang around stuff, how things are flowing, right? So now we need to guys, is it okay till this point of time? Just let me know. Just a second. uh, just let me know if there is any question, any thoughts which is there. Mm, anything that you'd like to get clarified on, but you are getting the flow, right, guys, as to how to really. And guys, if you can switch on the video, that would be great. It always feels good. Suparna, you are getting out of the trend. You are few of those who help me out, right? So uh, a slightly unrelated question: does India import biscuits? If so, what is the rough percentage of the total consumption? Let me see, Shivangi. I don't exactly remember whether we have um, taken that, done that exercise in this section. So if it's there, I'll let you know, obviously, right? And just give me a minute, right? And obviously, this is important for one to understand, right? But it also depends on the product more than the biscuits being imported. I think the import of raw material for biscuits would also be more important to be analyzed, right? Because uh, one, as because it's a food item, we need to understand the perishability factor as well of this product, right? So do they determine price of product by income level of people? Why so? So obviously, Nidhi, pricing is definitely a factor as to how the income of people are, and what segment of the what section of the people they are trying to reach. Are they looking for premium customers, is it the urban consumers or the rural consumers in urban, whether it's the middle segment or the affluent ones, right? So there are different segments. So basis that, pricing also gets to be critical from that perspective. Use on historical data only to understand trend. Mayur, obviously, so history has to be understood, and and history has to be understood, as well as how things are going to be looking forward in the future. That also has to be interpreted. So if you don't understand how things have shaped up in the past, you cannot assess how things may possibly move in the future, right? So obviously one needs to understand the history. Uh, which glucose brands demanded most? Nishan, do some research around that. Good question, but do some research around that. We will discuss. We have not ended. There we'll see around different companies what product they are placing across. So let me go through the entire section. Any estimated data is assumed. Uh, yeah, so obviously when I show the financial model, Mayur, you'll get more clarity of what I'm trying to say. The glucose has highest production, then why some units of Parle-G are shut down permanently, especially in Mumbai. Nidhi, it's not that I track the sector, so I don't know everything around this, right? So do some research at your own end. My objective is to give you a sense as to this is how the work happens, and this is how you need to deliver the reports, right? And these are the factors which has to be taken into consideration. Rest is up to you. go to the extent you can possibly research and give us some insights in the next webinar if you can, to for all of us to know more on this, right? Uh, Gurisha Gupta, sorry, I cannot share the PPT. Uh, uh, Distribution and reach of parlay gives it a edge over the peers, right? So we'll see on the company side of it as we move forward, but I think the question shows that you guys are finding it interesting, right? So that is important to me. uh, Indu Mohan, which classes, Indu Mohan? I didn't get it. How quality of raw material price are related? So Priyanka, obviously, the raw material, the stuff that you are going to make as an end product. Okay, let me show you the financial model. When I take you through the assumption sheet, then things would get to be more interesting. You'll appreciate. Then I will try to answer your questions at the last. But thanks for placing these questions. I really appreciate this. That right. So guys, good to go. Give me a quick A. Things are okay till now, enjoying the stuff. So that keeps me motivated. I'll take you to many sectors if you guys are enjoying this sort of sessions, right? And I think this is where India is not getting the job, right? It's not tough, but the only thing is no one is showing you what the end result has to be like, right? Chalo, let's move forward. So right. So now, in context of demand and supply analysis, we have to also see the rise of middle class. So that's also one of the factors, right? So last 2 decades saw an increase in the middle class. So from 90s, post the LPG, the what do you call that? Globalization stuff that happened in 1991 with Manmohan Singh coming up. Suppose that India has opened its economy, the country has seen a major shift in the standard of living of people, right? So there's been an increasing middle class the last 20 years, and growth of consumerism in the country has increased due to this growth of middle class, and trend has improved, uh, right? So all this stuff has happened. So uh, now what we consider to be the middle class or upper middle class or low income, so don't try to judge yourself as to where you are standing as of now. So you guys are quite relatively young, so you will also get into the higher income bracket soon, right? And join my webinars once you reply to those questions, and once you analyze and give great results for your company, they will ensure that you get into the bracket, right? So don't worry on that front. So guys, now number of households. So how many households are there with this level of income bracket, right? So 12 to 24, higher than 24, 6 to 12 to 1, 4 to 6. These are the different classifications which has been done. And as we see over here, the higher income bracket is going to, E means expected, it's going to increase almost 3 times, right, within a span of 8 years. That's the expectation. The upper middle class and the lower middle class also is going to have a major shift, right? And the lower income group is going to be decreasing a bit, right? So also I am sure the increase in population has also been taken into consideration in this, right? So this is not our data. These are their sources from where we collect this data, and means the government sources, so we can fall back on those, right? So the other aspect around demand and supply analysis is lack of better, affordable, and hygienic snacking options. So there has been that's been lacking. So currently, Biscuit is the most affordable and hygienic snacking option available in the country. Low price packages make the product within the reach of people with low consumption power. Increased proportion of low price glucose biscuits is testimony to this fact. The model was emulated for biscuits in premium segment too, right? With biscuits and cookies and all. The reduction in the share of glucose segment in the expense of cream biscuits points to the success of this model. Affordable packaging was thus able to create a latent demand across both glucose and this thing, right? So people are looking for more. Obviously, affordability is definitely an aspect, but people are looking for more hygienic options. And with the recent packaging and the set of stuff which has been taken care of from a technical standpoint, that has given uh, more value to the end consumers, and that is why the preferability of this new set of products, right? So that is something which we are getting to see. Then the demographic shift, right? So one is the income level, as well as there is a shift in the demography, right? So if whoever has studied MBA, we are taught we have to do demographic study and this study and that study, but how it actually happens, that is something which I'm trying to place over here. So when we are trying to see the demographic movement over here, we see that the age group is between 18 to 35 is the largest pool of employees, right? India has the largest pool of employees in this group, and they consume the most, and by 2025, approximately 58% of the total population in the country is estimated to be in the working age. So if there is a shift in the working age to this in this segment, then obviously it's going to have a major influence in the way people consume biscuits, right? So the median age in the country by then will stand at 25, as against 43 of Japan and 36 of the US, making it one of the youngest nations. And we know the younger generation consumes biscuits in that way, right? So as we see, just a second. So over here, as we see, median age in India is roughly 28, where it is for Brazil, Russia, China, Mexico. This is how it goes, right? So also increasing popularity of ready-to-eat foods, right? So people are more open for ready to eat foods, which was not the case when our parents used to be at a young age, right? They were more somewhere that mindset was not to go consume outside food, but the new generation, they are more welcoming in this. So ready to eat food is gaining popularity in India due to the twin factors, because change in lifestyle and change in demography. More and more people today are opting for processed food, and due to their busy daily schedule, though it's not good, but then that is what the reality is. And today's young population prefers processed food and snacking option over traditional options. And this shift in favor of processed food has also helped in increasing in consumption of biscuits. So guys, I'm trying to give you a sense that when you're doing this demand and supply analysis, you have to think from all these different contexts, right? Then the other thing is that this other segment which is coming up, which is falls under the bracket of healthy digestive biscuits, that's also is increasing. So rising trend of lifestyle diseases like diabetes and hypertension has led consumers to demand healthier products. So this trend is visible across personal care and products and consumables, and acceptance of Britannia's NutriChoice and Unibix McVite brand of biscuits and cookies are testimony to this trend. Digestive biscuits and oatmeal cookies are the popular variants in this segment. So currently, health segment comprises only 2% of the total biscuit market in volume terms, dominated by Britannia Unibic, right? So you guys can do some research and see what is the trend as on date. This is some old data, but then uh, this gives a sense like these are the set of aspects on which we have to be looking into. This falls under the bracket of emerging trends, right? The other aspect is premiumization, right? So there's a shift in consumption pattern from traditional glucose biscuits to cream biscuits and cookies, and this premiumization is driven by the rise in disposable income of the upper middle class, right? Aided by this factor, the premium segment has been growing by a rate of 30% per annum over 18 to 20% growth of mass segment. So entry of Kraft Foods Oreo brand of biscuits, introduction of premium brands like ITC's Choco Fill Dark Fantasy is an indication of growing demand for premium biscuits. So these are the emerging trends, right? The last one we saw, uh, just a second. So the first emerging trend is around the healthy and digestive biscuits. The second is premiumization, right? The third is around innovative marketing techniques. So smaller packages and sachet packaging has been present. So this is influencing a lot. So in the biscuit segment, this was initially limited to glucose segment, noted Parle-G small packet, but of late this trend is expanding to premium segment, right? So this is something that is moving into. Most notable marketing innovation in product packaging was done by Kraft Food, right? And so they had three SQs. SQs stand for stock keeping units, who don't have an understanding around this. So three biscuit pack for INR 5, 7, and 10, and 14 biscuit pack of INR 20, right? So, okay, uh, I missed out on the 14 biscuit pack. So there are different packaging. So please understand from this perspective, 5, 7, 10, and 20. There's some old stuff which I missed out on. I don't remember in which context this 14 word is used over here. By pricing at a lower level of INR 5, the company has managed to make the products accessible to all class of population, right? So different marketing techniques is used. So this is also an increasing trend as we get to see. The other is in context of variety of offerings. So Indian market was characterized by glucose biscuits with cream biscuits as the elitist food, right? After deregulation, this has been marked. There has been marked changes, but glucose biscuits still continue to be the most dominant segment with the introduction of different types of cream biscuits, orange cream to bubble gum flavored and stuff like that, fresh baked cookies and cream wafers. So these are Hubs biscuits is also coming up, right? Mint flavor biscuits. So variety in offering. So that is how the market is expanding, right? So someone was asking about the biscuit export part of it, right? So as we see over here, so moving forward, before moving forward, let me uh, see if there is any question till now, guys. Just let me know. Uh, how do you deduce which questions are important and which are not? That's a challenge in this kind of research because it's being done for a company, not ourselves. So Rahul, it's all about how much you can possibly think of, right? The more you can think of, the more you research you do. See, no one is going to stop you or prevent you from doing more research, right? So obviously the more you can gain more insights around different things, the better it is. But please understand there is a function of time in which everyone works, right? So the extent of research you can possibly do in say 15 days is going to be widely different from what you can possibly do in say 6 months, right? So to the extent you can possibly do within the constraint of time, again I'm saying the word which is used over here is best effort basis. So on a best effort basis, to the extent you can possibly do, you have to do that. I hope it answers your question, Rahul. uh, People are demanding what sources of insights. This company is important factor while deciding on price. Abbas, let's not discuss on that. That is not the topic of discussion. I am a business coach as well, which many of you may not be knowing. So there, I discuss as to how to do pricing for products. So, but that doesn't come under the broader gamut of investment banking, right? So that is not something the company has decided. So when he's going for asking for funds, he has decided these are my products and this is what the pricing of my products going to be. So your work is not to counter question that individual as to why the person has kept that product. You have to see whether the person can sell that product in the market and realize the money to pay you back. That is what, as a banker who is extending the finance, I would be interested in, and that is what the investment banker also have to ensure that they are making the banker comfortable in that perspective of things. Got it, Abbas and others also? Please, it's a good question, and that's why I try to give you more sense around this, right? So understand from that perspective. But if you are in the corporate strategy team, right, of the company, then you in the corporate strategy team, or you're working as a management consultant for the corporate, right? There you get into those set of activities where you are helping the company in deciding the pricing, the type of product composition that the company needs to come up with, right? And different set of stuff, right? How they reach the market, which are the market they need to go about for. So that is not the work of an investment banker to tell all these things to them. Nishant, AK, people are demanding what sources of insight. Didn't get your question, Nishant. Can you clarify a bit? Inflation affect the business? Avi, obviously, but then we are doing the projection. We generally take that into consideration. Available for years post 2000. Absolutely, Shivangi. It's everything is available. Why not? Elasticity affect the business? Yeah, obviously, Suparna. The elasticity of demand obviously affect the business.
but then we need to understand whether the product is elastic or not, right? So that is something that which we need to understand, right? So let's move forward, guys. Hope it's okay till now. Give me a quick A, guys, if it's okay. Finding it interesting? बोरिंग तो नहीं हो रहा है ना? I tried to see. I could have taken some other companies also, but I thought Biscuit is something which we consume on a regular basis. We go to the market, we purchase this set of products. So I thought this would be interesting to you. So that's why I took this as a case study, right? Chalo, let's move forward. So we see over here in context of the export and import part of it. So export revenue. So export revenue was high in 2009, and in terms of both volume and value. So these are the figures. This is the export figure. I'm not sure whether there is an import, because I don't think much of import actually happens. So yeah, so as it is mentioned over here, India is a net exporter of biscuits. So the country exported 68,000 tons of biscuits worth INR this, right? So during the period, the value of biscuits exported by the country increased at a compounded annual growth rate of 30%, while in volume terms, it is 26%. So Indian biscuits are exported to close to 92 countries. So, guys, who is going to start a biscuit business post today? Exports are fragmented, and the country with largest share accounts for only 6%. Top six export destinations since this is compared to his exports. So, let me share a story over here, guys. It's very interesting. So, I don't know how many of you would be eager to start a biscuit business from tomorrow, but then let me tell you, whoever is from Mumbai, guys, though they are present in other places, who has heard of Goli Vada Pav? Give me a quick yes in the chat box. Especially guys from Mumbai, I'm sure you must have heard, right? Just let me know. It's Goli Vada Pav. You have heard of? Avi, yes. Suparna, yes. Nidhi, yes. Only three of you. Madhur, okay. Ganesh, right? Yes, very famous, right? Yeah, yeah. So I actually went for giving a lecture in one management college. So there, the owner of this Goli Vada Pav also came up, and so we stayed together. In the night, we were just having a good chat, and then many people don't know he has a very excellent business model, and in fact, he had been extended funds by Ratan Tata and Narayan Murthy and people like that, and he also had a very rough ride at a point of time. So the good thing about Goli Vada Pav is that he doesn't manufacture anything. He doesn't have any setup of himself. The shops are all franchisee, right? The place where it gets the basic thing gets prepared, which then moves to the shop where all the finer last minute things happen. वो बनता है in McDonald's back end, this thing which many people don't know about, right? तो वो मैकडोनल्ड में होता है, लॉजिस्टिक्स किसी थर्ड पार्टी लॉजिस्टिक्स को लॉजिस्टिक्स के लिए दिया हुआ है ये सब माल, तो उन लोग का कुछ नहीं है, दे जस्ट मैनेज द ब्रांड, right? So that is the work they do. They just manage the brand. And now when I had made, I'm not sure post that kya hua un log ka, but they were planning to go export vada pav to Spain and places like those, right? So aadmi kya kya, and believe me, this guy used to be an investment banker. And वहां से वो ये business चालू किया है. So guys, you guys can also do the same, right? So think from that perspective. सिर्फ नौकरी के context में मत सोचो. Samosa boy just to use, right? Absolutely. Exists now, I guess. Abhi it doesn't exist. I'm not sure. Because I've shifted base, right? The name again. Goli Vada Pav, Rahul. Goli Vada Pav. That's the name. Goli is the brand. Right. So Burger Singh in Delhi. Yeah, yeah. So guys, so don't always see things from the perspective of कि मुझे नौकरी करना है और पैसा. So think about कि कल मैं खुद का अपना एक बिजनेस यूनिट लगाऊंगा, और अगर वो वाला सेंस से कुछ सीखोगे ना, तो देखो ये और रिलेट कर पा रहे हो, क्योंकि तब you see the bigger scenario of things. नहीं तो you just think from a research angle कि research करना है और मुझे एक report बनाना है, then you are narrowing your thoughts. So think from a angle कि कल मैं एक बिजनेस, मैं हमेशा वैसा सोचता था कि कल मैं एक बिजनेस यूनिट लगाऊंगा, एक बिस्किट का हुआ तो बिस्किट का, पावर का हुआ तो पावर का. सोचने में क्या ये है, प्रॉब्लम है, राइट? सो दैट्स द वे आई यूज्ड टू लुक इनटू. चल, लेट्स मूव फॉरवर्ड. So compared to its exports, the country's biscuit import is insignificant. So in 2011, volume of biscuits imports was 2% of the total export volume. So someone was asking, right, from the import perspective. So value of imports during the same year stood at 4% of total exports. So it's quite less compared to the export market as such. See, on the regulatory framework, as I said, it's a old data. So VAT and all, tax wala cheez mein I'm very bad. Let me tell you guys, right? So I don't have much sense क्या ड्यूटीज, क्या ये क्या चल रहा है, बट जो भी आज के दिन का है, आज के दिन का जीएसटी होगा. सो कीप दोस, हैव अ सेंस अराउंड व्हाट आर द परसेंटेजेस, what are the rates, what government is, what government guidelines or regulatory framework is coming up, whether it is in favor of a business or it's against it, right? So these are the perspective that you have to place across. So over here, this is an interesting insight, I guess. So Parleji's Iron 2 packet in 2009 had a net weight of 42 gram, but shrank to 32.9 gram by 2012. ओके, समझो बात को, कि जो 2 रुपया का जो पार्ले जी का पैकेट आता था, दैट उसका नेट वेट होता था 42 ग्राम्स, बट बाय द मतलब 2009 में, और 2012 आते आते वो 32.9 हो गया, मतलब कम हो गया, ऑलमोस्ट 9 ग्राम्स कमती हो गया, राइट? सो सिमिलरली वेट ऑफ ब्रिटानिया मेरीगोल्ड ऑफ आयनर 5 पैक was reduced from 69 grams to 64 grams, so 5 grams lesser. So under the uniform packaging regulation packages, so गवर्नमेंट ने क्या किया, एक रेगुलेशन लेके आया, which is called the uniform packaging regulation packages, with random grammage will be placed by standard grammages, right? मतलब 25 ग्राम है तो 25 ग्राम ही देना पड़ेगा, इंस्टेड ऑफ वर्किंग ऑन द, मतलब 5 रुपया का पैकेट या 2 रुपया का पैकेट, इट द फोकस हैज टू बी ऑन स्टैंडर्ड ग्रामेजेस कि 25 ग्राम, 50 ग्राम, 75 ग्राम, 100 ग्राम, so that people don't get fooled, right? And multiples of 100 grams. So that is the step which has been taken from a regulatory standpoint. So these are insights which one needs to understand when you are doing research around the industry. You have to gather this set of insights and what ramifications this may have towards the performance, right? Then in context of SWOT analysis, let us understand the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and trends. So the strength is that it's well established and expanding consumer base, product position as an affordable and hygienic snacking option compared to other similar snacking options like wafers or namkeen. Weakness is intense competition prevailing in the industry prevents the companies from increasing the prices, leading to an erosion in profit margins. Opportunities is premiumization trend is opening up a wider market from premium biscuits, cream and cookies, and spread of organized retail will help in increasing the reach of premium products to new consumers in terms of increasing the per capita consumption. And the threat is raw material fluctuation and fuel price hike threatens to erode the profit margin. So this is a key which I was mentioning about, that raw material factors has to be really taken into account, and regulatory threats, uniform packaging policy, and unfavorable tax environment. So these set of things has to be looked into. Now the other thing which one has to look is into is in context of the Porter's 5 forces analysis, right? So which we who have studied in MBS, we understand. I'm not sure about other guys. If you don't know around, who doesn't know about Porter 5 forces analysis, guys, just let me know in the chat box. Everyone knows, or is there someone who doesn't know? Kavita, you don't know? Okay. Jyoti, you don't know. Manisha, you don't know. Okay. Even Burger Singh, Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, guys, whoever don't know, please refer to this thing. Do some Google search and just give Porter's five forces analysis. So there's a mechanism of analyzing the industry, right? कोई rocket science नहीं है, थोड़ा study कर लो, and you will get to understand. So uh, how it is interpreted in context of this market, let us understand that. So the first aspect is around industry rivalry, right? So अभी हम लोग को समझ में आएगा कि इंडस्ट्री में कौन कौन हुआ थे मेजर players out here. So the biscuit segment in the country is dominated by three major players: Britannia, Parle, and ITC. So among them, they cover a major share of production and revenue. Rest of the companies in the segment belong to a small scale sector and are at best regional players, right? So the competition of the sector is intense and pricing plays a major part. Large players like Parle and Britannia can provide low price packages and can make up for the low price by volumes. Smaller players with low volume sales will find it challenging to emulate the same, right? So competition, as it said, is intense and pricing plays a major part over here that has to be understood. And Parle and Britannia can provide low price packages, can make up for the low price by volumes, right? So they have a volume reach, so that is where they have an edge, whereas smaller players cannot work with small volumes because there is guys, I hope you understand from the cost angle you have fixed cost and variable cost, right? So irrespective of how much you are the more you produce, the more you are able to absorb the fixed cost, right? So that is where small players falter. They really uh, lose out on, right? So that is something which we need to understand, whether this company who is coming up, how big is going to be the market, how they are going to be, is it that they are going to be a local player, or they are going to do a national level, going to have a national level presence. We need to understand all those set of things, right? Then comes the threat of new entrants. Uh, so we understand that capital investment required for setting up such a manufacturing unit in biscuit segment is low. So एक biscuit manufacturing setup खड़ा करने के लिए ज्यादा पैसा नहीं लगता है. So further level of technology deployed too is basic. So this has led to an influx of large number of small manufacturing units. Despite these factors, the industry is concentrated with top three players: Parle, Britannia, and ITC, cornering a major portion of the market. Distribution network is the key differentiator in this segment. So which is important? Distribution network, right? And setting up a large distribution network on scratch is an uphill task. This ensures that the segment will remain concentrated with limited number of players, right? And an exception to this case is the entry of Kraft Food. The company acquired Cadbury and was able to leverage Cadbury's 1.2 million retail outlet network. So some MNCs are also eyeing this market. So that is also we need to look into. Then comes the threat of substitutes. So biscuits का substitute कौन है? So that are Indian savories like namkeens, potato chips. So कोई बिस्किट खरीदने गया वो उसके जगह नमकीन खरीद के लेके आया. So that is the level of competition which the companies are facing. So baked chips, entry of new flavors in wafers and chips, right? So these are the substitute which one needs to understand about. Then bargaining power of suppliers. So raw materials इसमें क्या क्या लगता है? Wheat, sugar, milk and cocoa directly from mills. This bulk purchase help the companies to negotiate better prices. Apart from better prices, adherence of quality norms set by the company too is a major criteria to become a supplier of raw materials, right? So this set of things which we need to understand about, like how competitive on the cost side of it will be the company in terms of its raw material supplies that they need, and also in terms of the bargaining power of customers. So intense competition is there in this market, and with the changes in pricing, packaging, innovative marketing strategies, this is making a huge impact, exemplified by Kraft Foods Oreo biscuit, a new entrant which managed to corner a considerable share of market. So packaging, because all these things, how you put it in the shelf, how you ensure that it attracts the end user. So all these things gets to be very, very significant, right? So I hope you have got a sense, right, that कैसे industry how we use Porter's five forces, just to get a sense as to how things are there in context of the bargaining powers of suppliers, entrance, threat of new entrants, customers, ये सब चीज का, right? Any question, guys, till this point of time? Potato biscuits in the market. I'm not sure, dear. My wife goes for purchase, so I'm not really sure. Yeah. Let me know, guys, if there is any question till now. Who has no sense around पोर्टर्स फाइव फोर्सेस, प्लीज डू सम रिसर्च. अभी मैं तो यहाँ पे पोर्टर्स फाइव फोर्सेस लेके डिस्कस नहीं कर सकता हूँ, बट you'll get a hang on, एक बार ये सुन लियो and do some Google research. I'm sure you'll be able to get a hand on this, right? But these are the set of things which you actually need to know of and do when you are actually going into this nature of work, right? Guys, just give me a quick A if it's okay till now. My question is not about is it required to do much future market study for lending? Lenders would be okay with a ramp up, right? No, dear. If they are doing some funding for where they are, this company is going to set a manufacturing unit, हम लोग को future assess करना है, right? That's why we create a project finance model in that context. It's very, very important. Because see, the banker is extending the finance for the next 7 years. तो 7 साल में क्या हो सकता है, how things would shape up, that is something that one has to really assess, right? Uh, Nishant, how they do earn more by export or domestic? Uh, you need to refer to those charts that I showed, Nishant. Obviously, see, this is, see, what you are going to study is also in context of uh, what is the market for this company, right? वो अगर सिर्फ मान के चलो कि महाराष्ट्र में बेच रहा है, तो तुमको पैन इंडिया रिसर्च करके, ग्लोबल रिसर्च करके तो फायदा नहीं. सो देयर दैट इज नॉट इम्पोर्टेंट. बट हाँ, एक जनरल ट्रेंड समझो इंडस्ट्री का, हाँ, उसके लिए ठीक है. बट डीप रिसर्च जो करना है, दैट हैज टू बी डन इन कॉन्टेक्स्ट ऑफ महाराष्ट्र रीजन. सो that is the way you have to look into. Make case study on M&A and fundraising for IT sector. Ganesh देखते हैं. Thank you to national model is prepared by IME. We'll take you, Mayur. Just let me take you through the these sections as well, because this is relatively new for many individuals who are not from this section, right? So another thing which you need to assess is in terms of which are the upcoming projects, right? So that is something which also needs to be seen. Abhi tak jo tha, it was all about the industry as a whole, or where the biscuit manufacturing the biscuit segment is how things are there in that context. But then what level of projects are coming up, one needs to have a sense around that as well, right? So over here we get to see Anmol Biscuit is investing 810 million, right? Or say Britannia Industries is investing on 1,000 million, right? In different places. They are in two places. They are coming up in Bharuch, Gujarat. So when people are investing, you need to understand what is going to be the influence they will be having in the days to come, and what sort of market they are going to capture, right? So these are the set of upcoming projects which are there. And then comes what you do is a projection, right? And how you project the market size. Now I cannot discuss this, don't ask me as to how the projection is done, which I cover exhaustively in my equity research um, uh, uh, course, right? But over here, let us understand that the projection has been done, that there is a CAGR of this is expected. The ones which is represented by red are the expected, means what is the expectation of the growth rate. So the growth rate is expected to be around about 13.4% in the next 3 years, right? And the growth will be driven by premium biscuits, cream and cookies, while glucose segment, which has been the growth engine, will witness a slowdown. and the increase in disposable income, better product offering. So all these things gets to be very significant. Guys, please understand, when we are actually researching, I always keep on saying there are two types of research which happens, right? Secondary research and primary research. So if it's required in certain cases, secondary research is what, when which you do over the net, right? Whatever data elements you get through the net or the paid databases which are there. But other than that also, you can also do primary research, right, around different stuff. So where you get to speak with the end retailers who are actually getting to see the trend over a period of time, so they can give you certain insights and specifics which gets to be very, very significant, right? So that is another thing which happens. So over here we see the industry competition. So Britannia Parle is 34.1%, Britannia 31.9%, ITC 8.3%, and these are the other companies: Surya Foods, Anmol, Surge Industries. So guys, if you want to invest in this set of companies, you can start thinking from here. These are the topmost companies which are in this segment and how these guys are going to perform, right? So the thought should trigger to you in that context. Uh, that was in value terms, and this is in terms of volume. So roughly it's more or less the same, right? And so key players we have already discussed, Britannia Industries, and which are the different sort of products they are coming up with, which are the major brand of biscuits they are coming up with. So I'm not spending too much time over here. So Daily Gourmet Foods, they're into breads, cakes, and cookies, Parle products, and all. So you can do some research around this, right? This just to give you a representation of the different companies and the different brands that they place across, right? Now, this is a section which gets to be very important, which I've showed in context of power industry as well, that you need to do a financial breakup and understand which is the major proportion of cost that gets incurred and what is the net margin. So when you are going through this company who is looking for funding, when they come up to you, you need to understand what is the net margin percentage they are saying. So over here you get to see it's between 3 to 6% roughly, right? But if they show you say 10%, 15%, then you have to really dig deep as to what different they are doing. Are they really doing different, or what they are claiming is something that they never can reach to, right? So over here we see the raw material cost is roughly around 56%. So 52 to 56%. Power and fuel comes is roughly around 1 to 2%. Salary and wages is roughly around 2 to 3%. Selling and general expenses roughly around 13%, right? So is the consolidated company, the competition, I mean to say the industry figures, right? That's an exercise that is undertaken. And these are the different ratios in this context, in this industry. What are the different ratios that really works out to, right? So that is also some study that you have to do in this regard. Now, we also need to be understanding what are the key challenges. So increasing raw material expense is getting to be a major challenge in this industry. So in the past couple of years, prices of major raw material like wheat, sugar, milk, edible has been increasing. This has put pressure on the operating margins of the company, right? The companies in the segment are unable to increase the cost of their products for fear of losing market share. This is a major pain, right? So for the thought that they may lose market share, they are not able to increase the cost and pass it on to the end consumers, right? Because end consumers are extremely price sensitive. Someone asked, right, the elasticity part of it. And light changes in prices will hamper the sales of the company. Modification of grammage was the one tool that was used widely, but now with the regulation, that has been something also on which they couldn't work on, right? So this is a major challenge which is coming up for this set of companies. Managing profitable margins in the face of competition, that is getting to be very critical, right? Volume sales of these two players are huge, so they contain the expense growth. For smaller players, this is not possible, but any price increase will result in a slowdown in the sales. So as a new entrant, how much they can really fight out on in context of the prices, that is something that really needs to be understood, right? And so these are the marketing strategies. I'm not getting into that. So Yeah. So few sources of studies, guys, where from this data has been captured. So one is the Federation of Biscuit Manufacturers of India. As I said earlier, also last time also, that whenever you are doing such study, go to ministry sites, association sites, uh, give by that, and then you'll be able to get those sources. So it's India Biscuit Manufacturers Association, IBF, Business Beacon. Some are paid sources and some are free sources from where you can get the data. NCAR, India Trade. So these are the sources from where the data has been captured, right? So I'll take you through the model, guys. Before that, let me ask you guys: was it interesting? Did you find some insights into the industry? Uh, so if his company is manufacturing biscuits, so I will need to understand which variant of biscuits is manufacturing like glue. Absolutely, Said. One needs to understand because you are representing the company, right? So the company need to make the bank understand that why their project is going to be working, right? And because bank is going to obviously do their own studies and they will say कि बॉस ये सब challenges है तो आप ये challenge में आप क्या अलग कर लोगे ताकि मार्केट आपको मार्केट मिले and you can smoothly run this business, right? So obviously that is a question that the banker has to come up with, and a banker will come up with, and then so that is where the investment banker has to answer usko counter karna hai. They need to justify the questions that the banker is going to ask, right? So that is the work, और यही तो मजा है, तभी तो मजा है इसे रिपोर्ट बनाने में, थोड़ी ना मजा है ये तो 2 3 4 साल करोगे फिर बोलोगे कि भाई ये तो करते करते थक गया, बट देन व्हेन यू आर गोइंग टू debate, deliberate, place your words, place your thoughts, when you are going to meet the topmost bankers over there. There had been occasions where I fought with, say, AGM and above. Like AGM से CMD सब बैठे हैं, 50 बैंकर सब, बहुत like they are oldies, right? And दुनिया देखा हुआ लोग, लेकिन you have to justify what you are trying to say, and when you really cut through their whatever objections they are placing, and when you are able to handle those objections, the level of confidence that you get, the level of क्या बोले मतलब जो पावर आता है ना उससे, that's a different take altogether, that gives you that high, that gives you the kick. So Nishant, if one innovates something new, is it easy to get funding? Yeah, why not, Nishant? Absolutely. So, obviously, they need to justify what had been the case study, whether they have done some study in terms of placing across their products to some people who look at test survey, कैसे रहा, how the market has, whatever little they have done some analysis around the new product that they have come up with. So what has been the results of that? How many new people have accepted the new product that has come up? तो ये सब स्टडी दिखाना पड़ेगा फिर. What is the cost of investment banking and fund accounting? Rajkumar, I don't teach fund accounting. I am only interested to make you analyst. I'm not interested to make you operational guys in IB. Get this very clear, whoever is joining me for the first time. I'm only interested to make you analyst and not operational guys, because ऑपरेशन करके कुछ लाभ नहीं है. कल कोई मशीन आके ले लेगा काम उसका. And first of all, I don't know around fund accounting. That is number one. And second is I don't want you to be a back-end worker, right? I want you to be someone who is doing front-end job where you are actually meeting the set of people, the topmost people of the company, उन लोग से मिल रहे हो, बात कर रहे हो. I am trying to take you in a different zone, different journey. I'm not trying to see you just being a operational guys sitting on the back end and working on things, right? I want to make best of analyst out of you. So that is my objective of conducting whatever I'm conducting, right? So no offense to people who love accounting and want to pursue that career. So that's a separate career. If you are interested, pursue that. But if you are trying to be into investment banking and wanting to make the best of career into investment banking, then you have to uh, learn the set of things that I'm trying to place across. I hope that answers your question, Rajkumar Pitta. And what is the cost of your classes? Just keep just keep like I'll place an offer somewhere in the mid of the month, then you'll get to know. Highwayson is not convinced with the proposal. So what if the IB himself is not convinced with the? So good question, Nitin. And does he reject or still looks for? So Nitin, obviously, when our IB is not himself or herself convinced of the proposal viability, obviously. He is going to sit across. His work is to sit across with the company and work on from the bare assumptions, full uska pura, they have to rework on the proposal viability and ensure that they are convinced, क्योंकि खुद convinced नहीं होगा तो banker को जाके क्या समझाएगा, isn't it? So obviously they have to be convinced, and it is their job, and that is why नहीं तो सिर्फ banker को जाके समझा के पैसा ले लिया, that is not the work of IB, right? They have to go on working, reworking. Banker कुछ question लेके आया for which they may not have thought about it, so they have to go at the back end again, पूरा plan को restructuring करना. So there is number of loops that takes place, number of reworks that takes place to for this entire activity to happen. But good question, Nitin. Negotiation skills, absolutely. Negotiation skills is a very, very critical skill which one needs to have at every juncture of his or her career, right? मतलब हर जगह पे अपना husband wife negotiation, mother father के साथ negotiation, but so negotiation is not a bad word. It's all about in persuading people कि बच्चा के साथ negotiate करना पड़ता है, बच्चा क्या आके negotiate करता है हम लोग के साथ, isn't it? My son negotiates very hard with me कि चाहिए तो चाहिए बस, और so negotiation is there everywhere. So and the more better skills you build around negotiation, the more value you'll get in the company. IB also help companies in reducing challenge while they manufacture new products, so they may be able to raise fund. Side they don't get into the technical side of it, obviously, but yeah, if they are not convinced as to what this company is trying to say, so obviously कंपनी का जो टेक्निकल बंदा है उसके साथ बैठेगा आईबी, और उसको बोलेगा कि भाई तू प्लान चेंज करे, क्या बोल रहा है, मतलब इससे नहीं होगा, ये बैठ नहीं रहा है मेरा मॉडल में. I won't be able to convince a banker. So that sort of a rework. When I show you the model, you'll understand what I'm trying to say. Do startup funders need to have prior industrial experience to seek funding? If one didn't do any job, how can one justify his idea success without any? Absolutely, Nishan. So I'm not startup founders. मतलब ऐसा नहीं कि so this guy may not be now there are two types of activities that happen. If you would have joined my project financing this thing, you would have known that now there is some projects called greenfield projects and some called brownfield projects, right? So if it's a brownfield project, so they already have some business, so they are going to show that, right, in terms of the activities that they have taken in some other business context. And if it is a business where they are trying to set up a new unit altogether, they need to obviously have some previous experience. इसलिए तो startup में नई डेट मिलना बैंक से मुश्किल होता है. Sorry, so they generally need to have 3 years of vintage period. मतलब 3 साल थोड़ा छोटा लेवल पे भी अगर उसने कुछ मैन्युफैक्चरिंग करके बिस्किट बना के कुछ प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी बनाया है, so that they can show it to someone, then the banker gets this thing, give you the money to make a bigger unit. तो initial थोड़ा आपका सेटअप कुछ दिखाना पड़ेगा if it's from the bank funding part of it. If you're looking for startup equity funding, generally प्रोजेक्ट फंडिंग के लिए इक्विटी लोग ज्यादा देते नहीं है, सही बताए, मतलब इक्विटी इन्वेस्टर्स दे आर मोर इंटरेस्टेड इनटू टेक्नोलॉजी स्टफ वेयर देयर इज व्हिच इज लेस कैपिटल इंटेंसिव, right? So that's why in case of capital intensive projects, you have to fall back on the banking side of it. Which has been the most difficult funding deal you have been the part of? Can you please just which industry was it? Jugal I have done for a petrochemical industry, which is very, very complex, right? And I think that's one of the toughest projects that I've worked on. One project of 30,000 crores, right? So guys, uh, बात करेंगे वो सब लेके भी बात करेंगे if you guys are interested. But the way people are dropping out, I think people are not interested. Then I should stop these discussions, right? Guys, थोड़ा motivate करो. It doesn't feel good for me to see people dropping out. Is it that is रात हो गया इसलिए छोड़ रहा है कि they're not finding interest? Just give me a if you guys are there, and if it's interesting, if you'd like to see me coming up with such insights. अलग अलग इंडस्ट्री का अलग अलग फ्लेवर है. लास्ट डे आई स्पोक अबाउट पावर इंडस्ट्री. इट हैड अ डिफरेंट फ्लेवर. This is some biscuit manufacturing. This is going to have a different flavor. Tomorrow if I discuss something on oil and gas, that's going to have a different flavor. Hotel hospital कुछ hotel resorts अलग flavor होगा. तो real estate का अलग flavor है. So each industry has its own, and that is this variety is there, and that makes the thing interesting. और मुझे इसलिए इतना अच्छा लगता है. So I get excited to learn new things, right? We are here. Please continue. So अगर दिखाओगे तो 10 बाई करेंगे. Absolutely, Nidhi. In fact, exciting. No, sir. Please continue. It must be late for those who left. Right? I think so. Right. So let me show you now the model, right? So I think that would be interesting for you. तो एक मॉडल कैसे बिल्ड होता है. एंड ट्राई दिस अ बिस्किट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग का मतलब जो कंपनी का मैं बोल रहा हूँ वही उसी का ही मॉडल है. सी एज आई कीप ऑन सेइंग गाइस, द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट्स इन अ मॉडल इज द assumption शीट. ये एक assumption शीट बनाने में इट टेक्स ऑलमोस्ट 70% ऑफ द एफर्ट. बाकी सब 2 मिनट का मतलब बहुत इजी काम होता है. लेकिन यहाँ पे द assumptions that you take, and it's not about only taking the assumptions, what is the justification of taking those assumptions. So there is going to be a lot of discussions and deliberations. See, no one has seen what is going to happen in the past, right? But then if whenever this sort of a exercise happen, this doesn't happen with one individual, right? तो आज IB का भी एक टीम जाएगा इसको एक्सप्लेन करने के लिए, बैंक को एक्सप्लेन करने के लिए कि what is their thought around this industry. और बैंक का भी 2-3 बंदा रहेगा. So it's a group discussion that is going to take place, right? So one has to place across thoughts, words, their justification, their way of looking at things, and if it is countered, one has to really see why it gets countered, right? Said how much time takes to prepare a model. There have been people who can do it in 7-8 hours also, शायद. हाँ मतलब ऐसा भी बंदा है. और it depends on the time कितना जल्दी करना पड़ता है, right? And how much time is there at your disposal. Big companies like Goldman Sachs on Excel, absolutely, Aman, absolutely they do, right? And how much time does IB takes to complete the whole process? Mayur, it depends. It depends on the complexity of the project, and depends on kitna bar reworking hua hai, how much of objections has set in, what level of back end exercise you had to do. कभी कभार ऐसा पॉइंट बैंकर लेके आया कि आपका कोई जस्टिफिकेशन करने का कोई उपाय नहीं है. देन यू हैव टू गो एट द बैक एंड. शायद पूरा टेक्निकल प्लान से पूरा चेंज करना पड़ा. सो अगेन इट टुक 2-3 months for the entire plan to be reworked, and again to place it across in front of the bank. So there is no precise ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता. It depends from case to case. IB charge generally 1 to 2% of the amount that it gets raised, right? So that is why I say learn all this set of things. कल सी बड़े बड़े कंपनी का जहाँ पे 1,000 करोड़, हजार क्या करोड़ क्या बोल रहा हूँ, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 करोड़, वो सब गोल्डमैन सैक्स कर रहा है. 200-400 करोड़ के लिए तो गोल्डमैन सैक्स नहीं कर रहा है ना. वहां पे तुम करो 200-400 का. अगर if you get 1 to 2%, think of what amount of money you can make, right? And just if you learn this set of things, how to place across, how to work across, how to negotiate, how to influence, persuade the bankers to raise finance, right? This IB provides idea to company in coming up with new product. Nahi, Syed, that's the work of management consulting. I'll do a webinar on what's the difference between the work of IB, investment banking, and management consultant. Uh, will model better is enough, I guess. Uh, अमन, वो सब ना पावर BI टैब्लू ये सब छुट्टू लोगों का काम है. हाँ, ये जैसा काम सब कर लेता है, उसको दे दिया, तू पावर पॉइंट बना. ठीक है, तो वो बोलेगा मैं इन्वेस्टमेंट बैंकिंग में काम करता हूँ, इन्वेस्टमेंट बैंकर का काम करता हूँ. काम क्या करता है, व्हाट इज द पर्सन्स रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी. इसलिए मैं हमेशा बोलता हूँ, इट्स नॉट अबाउट विच कंपनी यू आर वर्किंग, इट इज अबाउट व्हाट वर्क यू आर डूइंग. You'll find in investment banks people who just make PPTs, who just do some market communication jobs. So there are all set of people out there, right? वो सब मतलब वो काम और ये काम में जमीन आसमान का फर्क है. This is where you are actually helping company to raise finance. And once you learn this work, the salary, the bonus, the incentive, the growth that you get in your career, this is going to be, it's evergreen job, right? ये कोई मशीन आके नहीं कर सकता है. पावर PI टेबलू ये सब मतलब, boss, I am not trying to teach all these things to you to do some 20-30,000 rupees ka job, right? I am trying to show you how you can make crores in your life, right? So please understand. I had to log out. I couldn't hear a response on what IB does if he's not convinced of viability. Nitin, I have responded on that, but just to keep short and again respond, as because you are saying where there was a power cut. Uh, if the person is not convinced on the viability, then IB is not convinced of the viability, they rework with the company. They sit across with their team. अगर उसका टेक्निकल प्लान से स्टार्ट करना है तो टेक्निकल प्लान, टेक्निकल टेक्निकल जो उन लोग का एक्सपर्ट्स है उन लोग के साथ बैठ के पूरा ये डिस्कशन डेलिब्रेशन करके पूरा रिवर्क करेगा पूरा प्लान, right? So it's because if they are not convinced, they won't be able to place a face to the bankers. And please understand, they always value the relationship they have with the bankers, क्योंकि कल अगर वो बैंक का NPA हो गया तो बैंक कभी वो इन्वेस्टमेंट बैंकर के बैंकिंग कंपनी के साथ काम नहीं करेगा. Then they lose clients, right? And they would lose future opportunities, right, to work with. And आज suppose कोई say senior manager level पे है या AGM level पे, that person may be the CMD of the company in some years, right? So they see that a long term perspective and they don't want to waste the relationship, and that's why they would ensure that uh, they create a win-win for everyone, right? So the right word is win-win, कि banker भी जीते, ये भी जीते, IB वाला भी जीते और corporate भी जीते. So Nitin, I hope I answered your question. Yeah, right. So let's move. So guys, I'll take you fast through this. It's already 10:33. So as you see over here, so this company is trying to come up with tons per annum. That's the unit. So they are coming up with biscuits and cookies, and this is the sort of projection that they have done, right? And sorry, in terms of this, the installed capacity they are going to have. See, it starts from installed capacity. एक कंपनी का प्रोडक्शन कितना होगा, that is very important. That is where everything starts. कि मैं जो पैसा मांग रहा हूँ इसके लिए how much of a capacity I would be setting for myself. So what is the installed capacity? क्योंकि capacity 100 होगा तो 100 ही बेच पाएगा, राइट? कैपेसिटी अगर 1000 होगा तो 1000 बेच पाएगा. सो what is the level of capacity they are going to come up with? Now, what is the sort of sales mix that they are coming up with? So biscuit and cookies, or biscuit domestic bhi hai, or overseas also they are planning to sell, and this is the percentage, right? So roughly 63% is around domestic sales they are going to make, and 37% in the overseas overseas section. Then capacity utilization. So see, अब क्या है कि पूरा सपोज इंस्टॉल कैपेसिटी 14,400 है, for biscuits and 1800 for cookies. But it's not that they are going to be utilizing the entire capacity in the very first year, right? So in the first year maybe they would be using 60% of the capacity, then it is going to slowly grow. if 2021 तक प्रोजेक्शन किया हुआ है यहाँ पे, so to 75%, because they are thinking long term. So 100%, generally 100% capacity होता नहीं है, क्योंकि there would be some मेंटेनेंस, ये वो कुछ रहता है, so that may be 98%, 95% of capacity utilization. But in the next so they are installing such a capacity so that in next 7 years also they would be reaching 75%, और 75% से जो उन लोग बेचेंगे उससे ही वो अच्छा बिजनेस कर पाएंगे, right? So month available for production, so as because they are raising the finance somewhere in 2014, right? So they, it's 9 months of operations that's going to happen, and it's 12 months for the uh, next of the years, right? So abhi production kitna hoga, metric ton per annum. So now it all depends on what is the capacity you need, install capacity, and what is the capacity utilization. So I'm not getting into the computation part of it. It's all discussed in my project finance program and all. It's sale by sale explained kiya hua hai. Now what is going to be the closing stock, one needs to understand in terms of the products that they would come up with, in terms of sales quantity, kitna quantity products they are going to come up with, and what's going to be the sales price around this set of products. So this is something I'm just taking you through in terms of how a assumption sheet is built, right? Now raw material, like biscuit बनाने के लिए कितने सारे चीज का जरूरत है, what are the, you require मैदा, sugar, fat, color, yeast, ये सब. So quantity required per ton, unit per kg, what is the price of raw materials for this, टोटल अमाउंट कितना है, कुकीज के लिए कितना लगेगा. सो ऑल एवरीथिंग बॉइल्स डाउन, बिकॉज जब कॉस्ट कैलकुलेशन करोगे ये एवरीथिंग would be significant, right? Then install capacity, raw material percentage, raw material consumption, then power expenses, power के पीछे क्या खर्चा है. So whatever is your expenditure in the cost elements, I mean to say, so all has to be really accounted for and understood in terms of what is the background around that. So gas expenses, ये बनाएगा तो gas का खर्चा है, packing expenses, right? Manpower expenses. So lot of things, professional fees, export expense, placement, the set of people who are going to work, their salaries and wages and stuff like that. So all these things has to be really accounted for, right? So once you do that, then you have then you create the profit and loss, the the P&L statement, the three financial statements, the profit and loss, the balance sheet, right? And the cash flow. So all this computation is done. Then we also need to assess how much of working capital is required, because for their year-to-year operation of the business, they require working capital, which is other than the term loan, if they are looking for any term loan, right? तो कितना उन लोग को पैसा चाहिए for this, right? So then you have to do the computation, the different ratios which I showed to you, then the sensitivity analysis, right? So agar DACR is a very important component which the bankers look into. It's one of the major component basis which they decide, right? So agar suppose there is a so it's a sensitivity analysis which is undertaken, like अगर raw material prices 2% से बढ़ गया, या rate of interest अगर 1% से बढ़ गया, या installed capacity utilization is decreased by 10%, so what sort of an effect is going to have on DACR, IRR and stuff like that, right? Then your break-even point computation, interest rate sensitivity. So all these computations or various sort of sensitivity analysis is done across different uh, sections, right? So just to give you a perspective, guys, this is just to give you a perspective ki how the entire discussion flows, how everything it gets to be interrelated, right? From so I could not show you the technical part, the management analysis part, but I think you got a fair bit of understanding, right? कि क्या क्या चीज देखना पड़ेगा to really create a flow around things, right? how everything boils down into a model and a final decision is undertaken. Guys, any question? Let me know. Uh, राहुल इंग्लिश में कोई जरूरत नहीं है ना मैं ही बोल रहा मतलब भारत हम लोग भारत के वासी है तो भारत इंडिया ही चलता है यही चलता है is this something similar to that CS does for taking term loan from banks yeah, so CA does it, Dolly, but the thing is, I've seen hundreds of such models and reports which are placed by chartered accountants, but uh, I'm saying about the local chartered accountants who does this activity. They are not great in this. See, they are good in tax and audit and stuff like that. They try to get into this space, but they are not very professional, I would say. In fact, this is the place where I would say many people like you who may gain skills and really give value to these chartered accountants, and really work closely with them. You may do some freelancing if you're good in building models and researching, doing industry analysis stuff, economic analysis stuff. That's a huge opportunity because what CAs can help you is bringing clients and bringing the business, and you on the other side giving them the value. So if you can join hands with them, and I can say you guys can earn in crores. मतलब there's real money. बॉस मैं बार बार सबको बोल रहा हूँ इफ यू गाइस आर स्टिकिंग टू मी फॉर ऑल द वेबिनार्स एक चीज समझ लो डेट में जितना पैसा है इक्विटी में उतना पैसा है नहीं इफ यू आर स्टार्टिंग योर ओन बिजनेस ओला खड़ा कर दिया वो अलग बात है from a business if you're starting a business, but then if you are in the domain of finance where you are helping companies raise finance, the amount you can possibly raise in the equity section in a small unit setup, I'm saying. If you're working for a big company, वो अलग बात है. But you can start your own freelancing unit someday, right? Once you learn the tricks of the trade over here, and you can make real good money. So sales and trading is also about front end and back end job, like we go to meet the investors or clients. Yeah, sales and trading is on the investment analysis part of it, Avi. Uh, but वहाँ पे ज़्यादा it's see if you are in the equity research part of it, then what you do is you go sales and trading who is actually sitting in as a dealer. उन लोग का ज़्यादा इधर उधर फ्रंट एंडिंग एक्टिविटी नहीं है, वो सिर्फ पंच इन करते हैं, ठीक है. लेकिन जो इक्विटी रिसर्च है, एनालिस्ट होते हैं वहाँ पे, उन लोग मिलने जाते हैं कंपनीज के साथ, राइट. सो देयर यू हैव बोथ द फ्रंट एंड बैक एंड थिंग वर्किंग फॉर देम, right. And dealing is a very strenuous work, let me tell you. I'm a trained professional dealer and I've been into that space. बहुत मतलब you've seen that movie ना, वो ऋतिक रोशन डीलर था, जिंदगी ना मिलेगा दोबारा. And it's a very strenuous job, and really it's a strenuous job. और वो पूरा it's a fish market. The amount of noise that happens उसमें एक zero zero का भी इधर उधर हो गया ना, then you are in a soup, right. So it's you cannot do it for a long period of time. In fact, that is one of the reason I also shifted from there. सीख लिया, अच्छे से सीख लिया सब कुछ, but then I understood that this is not the world where I would like to see myself for many days. And I'm also an individual or it's teamwork who support. And Said model to generally so there is a maker checker sort of a concept. So you make it and someone checks it. It happens that way, right. Because क्या होता है कि the guy who is actually in touch with the company, who is discussing with the company, all the details, right. तो वो तो if the other person has not traveled or have not sat for those meetings, हाँ दो तीन बंदे का एक टीम रहता है, but you are the primary contributor. और secondary कुछ ये लोग रहते हैं, कल अगर खुदा ना खास्ता किसी का तबीयत खराब हो गया for some reason, so someone has to pitch in, right. So from that perspective, someone is there. But then if it's your primary responsibility, then you have to. And is that you need to work in 2-3 projects at the same time, क्योंकि डेटा आने में जाने में जब एक साथ आ जाता है तब आदमी लगता है. दैट इज व्हाट वी गेट टू नो ना, कि रात रात भर जग के काम करना पड़ रहा है. सो वो सिचुएशन होता है कि जब सब कंपनी का ही डेटा एक साथ आ गया. सो विच इज अ वेरी रेयर ओकेशन. ऐसा नहीं कि हमेशा होता है, बट या वो जब होता है तब थोड़ा, देन it also depends upon your team lead, who is your boss, what sort of support system you have created over there, right? तो ये सब मैटर करता है. How many of you guys have seen the movie Thinkistan in MX Player? ये वाला मूवी देखो, ये वाला इसके साथ जुड़ा हुआ नहीं है. इट्स नॉट रिलेटेड टू फाइनेंस और समथिंग लाइक दैट, बट इट्स अराउंड द वर्ल्ड ऑफ एडवर्टाइजिंग. Okay, or advertising and copywriting, if you have any interest on that, and how you'll be able to relate to the old well, what was the logic of some ads which we have commonly seen coming up, right? And it's a very interesting this thing. नाम अच्छा नहीं है थिंकिस्तान, but the this thing is good. The movie is good, and movie नहीं, वो web episodes है. But I'm saying about this because that will give you a flavor as to how front and back end sort of a work happens. तो वो फाइनेंस वाला वर्क नहीं है, वो एडवर्टाइजिंग रिलेटेड वर्क है. लेकिन वहां पर भी देखोगे कि क्लाइंट के साथ डिस्कशन हो रहा है, आ रहा है, पीछे आइडिएशन कर रहा है, फिर जा रहा है, फिर आइडिया प्लेस कर रहा है. समटाइम्स इट्स नेगेटेड, समटाइम्स इट्स एक्सेप्टेड. सो अ सिमिलर सॉर्ट ऑफ एन एक्टिविटी हैपेंस इन द finance world as well. So you'll be able to draw some corollary over there, right? So, can you do a mint how to take assumptions of fashion? Just what should we focus on in such models and where are they? Rahul, it's there in my equity research. This thing, I think you are doing it. So over there, I have clearly mentioned, right? I've shared across the entire um, backend work. कैसे वो पूरा चीज होता है. So go through that. You'll be understanding. I've calculated number of DSA for taking loans of banks. Okay, Dolly. Yeah, yeah. Data available from same website for technical analysis. Ria, I didn't get your question. Data available for technical analysis. Which technical analysis? You mean to say the technical analysis of share market की technical analysis of projects? मतलब ये जो यूनिट लगाएगा उसका technical analysis. रिया जस्ट बाजार मूवी इसके साथ नहीं है. बाजार मूवी इज ऑफ अ डिफरेंट नेचर. व्हाट इज द नेम ऑफ पोजीशन? Dealer, I mean to say, whether it's a forex dealer or equity dealer who is sitting in the dealing desk. Aman, we charge in case funding rejected. So, Nishant, it happens two way. One is that there is a professional charge and there is a success fee, right? तो कुछ तो पैसा लेगा तुम्हारा, इतना टाइम स्पेंड करेगा, उसका एम्प्लॉय का टाइम कॉस्ट है, राइट? सो दैट वे कुछ खर्चा है. And if the success happens, then you get a fee. If it gets rejected, then obviously you don't. Yeah, I am a I see I like to see good movies. Yeah. uh, मेरा सब फैमिली टू ए टू सब सब हो गया, सब सब देख लिया मैंने. Guys, was good. Yeah, Rahul. Savlon Sopad, yes, it's a modeling course. Yeah, modeling to prepare where we can get data. So financial model, Ria, the question should be how do I get the data to build a financial model, right? So those set of points is going to be, if now it depends, right? So if you're the investment banker, then you sit across with the corporate to build this financial model, right? And if it is for the bank, तो ये मॉडल लेके बैंक के पास you go. Now bank has a system which is called the CMA, राइट? सो उन लोग वो सीएमए का एक स्टैंडर्ड शीट होता है. सो दे विल अपॉइंट समवन फ्रॉम देयर एंड टू चेक वेदर there is some discrepancy in the model or not, right? And so from that perspective, once they are assured of the fact that there is no discrepancy, everything is correct. इसलिए बहुत सारे टाइम क्या होता है, आदमी एकदम हाई फाई सब गोल्डन, सभी तो मतलब गोल्डमैन सैक्स हो गया ना, तो सब एकदम मैक्रो फैक्टर सीख के मॉडल बना के लेके जाता है. और जो बैंकर वहां पे दूसरा जो बैठा है, वो मैक्रो वो सब चलेगा तो उसको वो फ्लो समझ में नहीं आता, हाउ ईच सेल इज ऑल रिलेटेड टू ईच अदर. ठीक है? सो देन दे से भाई इस मैक्रो फैक्टर हटा के सिंपल मॉडल लेके आओ. एंड आई ऑलवेज टेल एवरीवन कि पहले सिंपल मॉडल बनाना सीखो, फिर उसके ऊपर जितना ओरिएंटेशन, क्या बोले उसको, मतलब ऑर्नामेंट्स लगाना है वो सब बाद में करना, उससे कुछ फर्क नहीं आएगा। लेकिन तुम्हारा अगर बेसिक मॉडल नहीं बनाना आता है, उसका एजम्पशन शीट बनाना नहीं आता है, उसका मतलब ये डिटेलिंग नहीं आता है, सो देन योर मॉडल इज एनीवे नॉट गोइंग टू गेट एनी value in the market. Got it, guys? I hope you are getting the message loud and clear. So don't get into, see these, someone asked for BI and this thing. These are visualization tools. ये सब लास्ट लीग वाला चीज है कि कैसे तुम उसको सुंदर तरीके से पेश करते हो। वो सब ठीक है, लेकिन बैंकर ना उसका मतलब लगा पड़ा है, वो तुमको देगा 300 करोड़, कल अगर कुछ हो गया ना तो उसका मतलब नौकरी इधर से उधर हो जाएगा। तो बोलेगा भाई तू मुझे वो सब हटा, तू मेन पॉइंट पे आ कि कहाँ से पैसा आएगा, कहाँ जाएगा, और ये बिस्किट बिकेगा कि नहीं मार्केट में। ठीक है, सो दैट इज द क्रूड रियलिटी, और उस पे फोकस करो। ये सब चुन्नू मुन्नू कर लेगा, ये बीआई और ये, ठीक है, कहीं से सीख लेगा 500 रुपया 1000 देके, वो सब उसमें कोई बड़ा बात है नहीं। इट्स अ मैटर ऑफ 2-3 महीना वो कुछ करेगा, वो सीख जाएगा। लेकिन ये सब लाइफ भर टाइम स्पेंड कर लेगा तब भी सीखेगा नहीं, हर दिन नया सीखेगा। You're getting what I'm saying? So value this, what I'm placing across, because my focus is how you can get into a high income career zone. मैं बार बार बोल रहा हूँ, it's not about earning few bucks, 20-30 हजार कमा लिया और पापा का घर में है और लाइफ ऐसे ही चलेगा, ऐसा नहीं। You have to think how you can get into, grow in your career, right? So focus over there. देखो माइंडसेट वैसे बनाओगे, बड़ा काम करना है तो बड़ा फिर मिलेगा। अगर छोटे में ही खुश रहोगे, हाँ मतलब, तब यू आर रिस्ट्रिक्टिंग योर सेल्फ, यू आर लिमिटिंग योर सेल्फ। और उसमें कुछ नहीं है कि क्या बैकग्राउंड से आते हो, क्या आते हो नहीं आते हो, कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता है। तुमको काम आता है कि नहीं आता है। लोगों को इनिशियल लाइफ में मैं समझता हूँ थोड़ा होता है, इनिशियल स्टेजेस ऑफ लाइफ में, लेकिन 2 4 5 साल जब बीत जाएगा ना, जब तुम काम दिखाना शुरू करोगे, तब ये सब कोई कोई मतलब इम्पोर्टेंस ही नहीं है। It's all about how much work you know, how you can place your work, what level of confidence you have, with what uh, clarity you speak, how you are able to persuade, how you are able to communicate, how you are able to put across your words to the other set of people, right? How you can create a win-win-win among everyone, how you see the interests of your team members, how your fellow colleagues, as well as people who are sitting on the other side। तो ये सब मतलब तब देखोगे कि मतलब ये खेल कहीं दूसरे जगह पे हो रहा है, और हम लोग ये पावर बीआई और ये लेके ही दिमाग लगा रहे हैं। यू गेटिंग? सो सीखो, आई एम नॉट रिफ्यूटिंग द फैक्ट कि ये सब मत सीखो, बट इसमें खुद को रिस्ट्रिक्ट मत करके रखो, क्योंकि ये इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं होता है। I'll tell you, when I was in Bank of Baroda, जब मेरा I was part of the CMD secretariat team. We were working on the revamping of the entire business of the bank. So bank was having a business of 1,80,000 crores. How to make it to 3 lakh crores within 3 years span of time. I was part of that project. अगर बैंक ऑफ बड़ौदा का जो लोगो किया हुआ है, if you have seen the logo, the present logo of Bank of Baroda, I was very closely associated with that, and that is where my liking towards branding, advertising, communication, all these things came into play. So everything is related. So तब मैं क्यों ये बोल रहा था? So over there, कॉन्टेक्स्ट मिस हो गया। Sorry, I'm totally miss out. I'll tell you guys when I remember. Financial models, is there any sources where we can get some financial models? So Aman, in my program you get roughly around 20 financial models on which you can work. What is the best in terms of more earning? So ईश्वर, it's all about तुम जितना बड़ा वैल्यू का प्रोजेक्ट हैंडल करोगे उतना पैसा कमाओगे। 300 करोड़ का करोगे तो उतना कमाओगे, 3000 करोगे तो उतना कमाओगे। अगर रिटेल फाइनेंस से जुड़े होगे, जहाँ पे तुम 2 करोड़ का प्रपोजल पे काम कर रहे हो कि आदमी का 2 करोड़ का लोन कैसे करवा दूं, तो उतना ही पैसा मिलेगा। You're getting what I'm saying? So try to get into bigger projects, bigger mandates, बड़ा काम के साथ जुड़ने का कोशिश करो, और उसके लिए स्किल बढ़ाओ। और मैं पूरा स्किल लेके आया हूँ तुम लोग को जो सीखना चाहिए इन माय प्रोग्राम्स. एंड वंस यू गेन दैट स्किल यू कैन वर्क इन any sort of projects, right? And once you do that, when you place that credentiality, तब आदमी तुमको लेगा ना उसके लिए. फिर once you get some fine tuning on a daily basis, फिर सीख जाओगे. ब्रांडिंग, या ब्रांडिंग तो याद है, लेकिन ब्रांडिंग का कॉन्टेक्स्ट में क्यों एकदम दिमाग में था. Yes, I want to get into manufacturing. Ishwar, yeah, you should. Like, it's not manufacturing. Matlab, models you can do. Yeah, manufacturing is more capital intensive. That's why the debt side is more relevant towards manufacturing. Service side is more on the equity side because it is less capital intensive, right? So तो दोनों में ही मजा है. देखो, उसमें वैल्यूएशन करना पड़ेगा, यहाँ पे डीएसीआर निकालना पड़ेगा. बाकी तो एजम्पशन शीट भी करना है, पीएनएल बैलेंस शीट, कैश फ्लो करना है, वर्किंग कैपिटल असेसमेंट करना है, टैक्स ये भी करना है, डेट पेमेंट शेड्यूल भी करना है, पेमेंट शेड्यूल आई मीन टू से. सो एवरीथिंग रिमेन्स द सेम इन अ मॉडल. It's only the last part where the valuation exercise that gets to be different, and in debt funding, the this thing gets to be different. I mean to say your uh, the DSCR computation and all those set of computations. That is how it gets to be different. You're getting, guys. So it's almost 2 hours. So बिस्किट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग के बारे में, बिस्किट के बारे में कुछ क्लैरिटी आया लाइफ में? कुछ स्टॉक्स पे इन्वेस्ट करना है बिस्किट में, बिस्किट इंडस्ट्री में? सोचो अभी थोड़ा, पढ़ो इसको लेके, कौन कौन सा स्टॉक में इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हो. फ्रॉम दैट पर्सपेक्टिव आई थिंक it must have given you some sense कि flow of क्या क्या study करना पड़ता है, how it flows into a model. So within this context of time and thing, I think this is the extent to which I can possibly. My intention is to discuss more and more of different industries, because the more you get exposure across different industries, तब देखोगे when you speak more confidently and with clarity and a lot of poise, you know. So that is one. I'm thinking of quitting CS now. Jyoti, I won't I won't deny that it's not it's not a bad thought, you know. So rest is up to you. लेकिन CS करो ना, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, लेकिन CS के साथ ये भी सीखो, क्योंकि कल it's not only the CS set of activities that you get to do, but you can help companies in doing this also, right? और यहाँ पे पैसा है. See, guys, be very fair, right? We are doing all these things, कहीं तो पैसा कमाए, right? मतलब uh, if you're learning something in your life, obviously one of the objective is, I'm not saying that's the sole objective, but one of the objective is to make some good money for yourself, right? So then effort मारना ही है तो गलत जगह पे क्यों मारे, जहाँ पे है उसमें मारे. In the investment portfolio management, investment analysis, thus people earn more money. ईश्वर, इट डिपेंड्स, राइट? सो पोर्टफोलियो मैनेजमेंट तुम दूसरे कंपनी के लिए कर रहे हो, तो तुम्हारा तुम्हारा पैसा कैसा आएगा? तुम्हारा पैसा सैलरी से आएगा, और तुम अगर अच्छा पोर्टफोलियो हैंडल कर किए हो, मैनेज किए हो, तो फिर बोनस मिलेगा, ये सब मिलेगा, ये सब तरीके से कमा सकते हो. बट यू हैव टू बी गुड इन दैट नेचर ऑफ वर्क ऑल्सो, राइट? बट पोर्टफोलियो मैनेजमेंट सुनने में बहुत अच्छा लगता है, तुम अपना पोर्टफोलियो हैंडल कर सकते हो, बट टू बी अ पोर्टफोलियो मैनेजर इन सम कंपनीज, you have to work for many years before you've been given a like 1,000 करोड़ का एक पोर्टफोलियो दिया गया है मैनेज करने के लिए. दिल्ली बहुत दूर है. so and very few people, how many portfolio managers do you think are there who are managing the show? The number of portfolio managers, तो कंपटीशन बहुत हाई है वहां पे. तो वहां जाना चाहोगे जहाँ पे धक्का धक्की बहुत है, कि जहाँ वहां जाना चाहोगे जहाँ पे हर नुक्कड़ में एक फैक्ट्री लगेगा और हर जगह पे आदमी चाहिए होता है पैसा रेस करने के लिए? You're getting where I'm coming from. See, in any place, there is some factory that is coming up, right? In any state, in any place. तो हर स्टील मैन्युफैक्चरिंग यूनिट और ये सब यूनिट्स कहाँ होता है? सब 300 किलोमीटर दूर, 400 किलोमीटर दूर इसका फैक्ट्रीज होते हैं, एंड दे हैव अ ऑफिस इन द सिटी. आज मैं ट्रैवल करता था, रात को 2:30 बजे जागता था, फिर आई टू कैच फ्लाइट एट 5:30 इन द मॉर्निंग, फिर आया, मान के चलो मुंबई से I need to go to, say, in Bihar, 400 kilometers mm, from the airport. तो एयरपोर्ट पे उतरा, फिर अगेन 400 किलोमीटर्स गाड़ी से ट्रैवल किया, वहां जाके फिर मीटिंग शुरू हुआ दोपहर को, लंच करके वो चला रात तक, फिर ये करके फिर नेक्स्ट डे अगर लोकल कुछ स्टडी करना है 2-3 दिन वहां पे किया, फिर आया, फिर मतलब सो but I've seen extensively what is there in India, and that is what really matlab, took me to what I'm doing today, because there's huge requirement of people who are really knowing this stuff. कितने फैक्ट्रीज है, कितने पीपल आर क्लूलेस, और कोई लोकल चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट का कुछ हवा नहीं है. I'm not saying about a community, please understand. I'm saying that skill sets are different, right? Over there, it's audit tax, उसमें उन लोग अच्छे हैं, but they are not good in industry analysis. कि एक अच्छे तरीके से मैं प्लेस करूँ, मॉडल बनाना, यू रिक्वायर एक्सेलिंग स्किल्स, यू रिक्वायर प्रोजेक्शन स्किल्स, राइट? वो स्किल्स अलग है. अगर है तो बहुत अच्छा है, अगर नहीं है, मेरा एक्सपीरियंस रहा एकदम नहीं है, तो यहाँ पे बहुत आदमी चाहिए जो ये स्किल्स लेके आए. सब सोच रहे मैं गोल्डमैन सैक्स में काम करूंगा, अरे वहां पे जाके तुमको सैलरी मिलेगा, और यहाँ पे तुम मतलब कमीशन में काम कर सकते हो. सो काम करो, एक्सपीरियंस लो, कहीं भी करो, बट do those set of work job which is going to help you, uh, give you the capabilities to do this set of work, so that you can really do good for yourself, right? And for your family, and right, for whatever. और इसमें अच्छा भी कर रहे हो ना, लोगों का अच्छा कर रहे हो, तुम लोगों को सपोर्ट कर रहे हो, लोगों को इंसाइट्स दे रहे हो, लोगों को मतलब अगर बेहतर तरीके से उन लोग प्लेस कर सके तो दे विल आल्सो बी लुकिंग फॉर. एंड लेट मी टेल यू, पीपल हु हैव क्रैक्ड दिस, हु नो दिस, दे आर मिंटिंग मनी लाइक हेल. लेट मी टेल यू, सब 300 400 500 करोड़ 1000 करोड़ का प्रोजेक्ट में जो पैसा कमा रहा है दबा के, आई सिंपली कैन नॉट टेल यू. ठीक है. सो डोंट बी शॉर्ट साइटेड, डोंट मिस ऑन दिस पर्सपेक्टिव विच आई एम रिपीटेडली टेलिंग यू गाइस. इस पे ध्यान लाओ, करो शेयर मार्केट, ये वो सब करो, लेकिन ये एक एरिया है जो बहुत अच्छा है. And get into this set of things as well. Do IB only prefer CA, CFA, MBA from Tier 1 college? Syed, you shouldn't be asking this question. Please. Syed Mullah is my old buddy, old buddy in the sense he has taken my program, is so I can tell him all these things, what to say or not to say. So Said, please WhatsApp में भेजो, तुमको मैं इसका आंसर देता हूँ. I'm from engineering, no financial background, can I? So Nishant, whoever is from engineering background, as I say, you guys also have a very good this thing. एज है. अगर थोड़ा एक्सपीरियंस कोई इंडस्ट्री में है तो बहुत अच्छा एज है, क्योंकि इन्वेस्टमेंट बैंकर्स दे आल्सो लुक फॉर पीपल हु आर कमिंग फ्रॉम स्पेसिफिक इंडस्ट्रीज, हु हैज सम डोमेन नॉलेज अराउंड द इंडस्ट्री. और उसके साथ अगर जो चीज मैं प्रोग्राम्स में मेरा सिखाता हूँ, अगर मार्केट रिसर्च सीख लिए, थोड़ा फाइनेंस एंगल सीख लिए, तो यू आर वेरी वेरी वैल्यूड इन द मार्केट, जो एंड टू एंड काम कर सके. क्योंकि वो एक कॉमर्स के बंदा भी नहीं कर सकता है, वो तो इंजीनियरिंग कभी नहीं कर सकता है, बट इंजीनियरिंग बंदा फाइनेंशियल मॉडल बना सकता है, right? That's why so many engineering guys are taking in management colleges. You're getting what I'm saying? And if you've seen that in the world of finance across the globe, it's primarily engineers who have been in the world of finance. उन लोग इंजीनियरिंग में थे पहले, फिर फाइनेंस में उन लोग ने स्पेशलाइजेशन किया है, right? So you can do it. The only thing is you should be ready to learn new things and align yourself to those set of things. Malcolm, even I get more platinum. Okay, I want to ask my operational role for so many years now. एब्सोल्युटली मेलकम. ये तो मैं मतलब बोल बोल के सबको फिर से मैं बोलता हूँ भाई, 3 किस्म का काम होता है. कोई भी फाइनेंस प्रोग्राम में जाओ, फाइनेंस इंडस्ट्री में काम करो, सेल्स, ऑपरेशंस और एनालिसिस, ये 3 ही काम होता है, इसके बाहर कोई काम नहीं होता है. ठीक है, आई एम नॉट सेइंग अबाउट कि आईबी में एचआर भी है, मार्केटिंग टीम भी है, उसका बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ। जो मेजर जो काम होता है वो सेल्स, तो सेल्स सबका बस का बात नहीं है। इफ यू लव सेल्स देन परस्यू सेल्स। सेल्स से अच्छा काम कुछ नहीं है, क्योंकि जिंदगी भर बेच पाओगे, ठीक है, और बेचना पड़ेगा ही एक दिन ना एक दिन। यू कैन नॉट बी द सीईओ ऑफ अ कंपनी विदाउट सेलिंग एनीथिंग, सो दैट्स द ट्रूथ। बट क्या होता है कि इनिशियल तुम अगर रिटेल सेल्स में जुड़ जाओगे तो लाइफ में ग्रो नहीं कर पाओगे। बाद में तुम मिड लेवल तक एनालिस्ट होके फिर कॉर्पोरेट सेल्स में गए, कॉर्पोरेट क्लोजिंग किए, वहां से सेल्स में घुसो, ठीक है। फिर रहा ऑपरेशंस। ऑपरेशंस इज ऑलवेज न्यू, this thing is coming up. Machine, the way machine and everything is coming up, operation jobs is not going to be of security and safety. That's my take, right? This what I'm saying is my personal opinion. तो अगर नहीं है the, but so I say move to a value driven game rather than a volume driven game. And ये operations job is all volume driven, तो वो machine ले लेगा। लेकिन ये कहीं पे अगर बिस्किट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग को पैसा देना है कि नहीं, ये कोई मशीन नहीं डिसाइड कर सकता है, बिकॉज देयर आर सो मेनी डिफरेंट वेरिएंट्स टू द एनालिसिस दैट गोज बिहाइंड इट। कल अगर सपोज हिंदुस्तान लीवर को पैसा चाहिए, आईटीसी को पैसा चाहिए, कोई मशीन बोलेगा इसको पैसा दो? एक मशीन बोल दिया कि हाँ इसको 4,000 करोड़ दे दो, कोई मशीन बोल सकता है वैसा? नहीं ना। इट प्रॉपर एनालिसिस हैज टू बी डन, इट विल बी अ टीम डिसीजन, it cannot be an individual decision that way. So this work is definitely going to be there, and this is where the real maza bhi hai. You're meeting the best of people, you're working back end, front end, and ideation kar rahe ho. मतलब it's a different game altogether. मिल रहे हो and you're debating, discussing, and that builds your softer skills, technical skills, every sort of skills gets improved, right? That gives you a lot of confidence to do many other things in the future as well. So focus on this set of things, guys. Dolly, I'll do tech stock market. So how can I work in 300 crore project in finance model? ईश्वर पहले तो स्किल बनाओ, फिर बात करेंगे। स्किल बनाओ, then I'll tell you what will be the starting role for we should accept this thing. What will be the starting role that we should accept or demand? Starting role. So starting role is all about analyst. So you join a company as an analyst or as an intern initially, and then you move to the analyst profile. इसको लेके भी मैं अलग निधि मैंने अलग वेबिनार किया है और वो मैं फिर से करूंगा. So join that webinar where I speak about the different, the one is the different sections on investment banking. In another webinar I discuss about the floor of investment banking. So I think Avi was there, right? Avi, give me a yes if you're there in that this thing. You were not there? How come? I get to see you in every webinar. Financial analyst. निधि, द थिंग इज रोल टर्मिनोलॉजी एक एक जगह पे एक एक लोग अलग अलग यूज करते हैं. एनालिस्ट सोच के रखो. So analyst may be a, you may be a equity research analyst, you may be a credit analyst, you may be a credit rating analyst, you may be a प्रोजेक्ट फाइनेंस एनालिस्ट. तो एनालिस्ट का अलग अलग वेरिएशन है. कोई कोई ये सब नाम ना दे के सिर्फ फाइनेंशियल एनालिस्ट बोल देता है. सो डोंट गो बाय द नेम, गो बाय व्हाट दे आर आस्किंग यू टू डू, और उसमें समझो कि तुमको क्या काम करना है. सो ज्वाइन दैट वेबिनार ऑफ माइन, वहां पे मैं पूरा डिटेल में डिस्कस करता हूँ. So guys, whoever is, this is in context of the question that Malcolm has asked, whoever is into retail financing, okay, as a career growth, please try to move first to the SME, small and medium enterprises, and then into large corporates. ओके, क्योंकि रिटेल से डायरेक्टली इन्वेस्टमेंट बैंकिंग में जाना मुश्किल होगा. बट इफ यू आर गेटिंग an exposure, so that SME sort of analysis that you do, maybe in banks, maybe in NBFCs, maybe in rating agencies, anywhere. So small and medium enterprise, maybe अगर वो area में भी if you can get into, then also you can get to handle projects of 200 crores, 300 crores, 400 crores, 1,000 crores. तो वहां से you can really take a jump into the world of investment banking. And the other obvious route is if you join boutique investment banks. So that is anyway you can do it. But वहां पर भी उन लोग थोड़ा मतलब they would expect that you know something around uh, the small and medium enterprise funding or corporate funding. उसका थोड़ा अगर ये रहा तो अच्छा रहेगा, right? निधि एनालिस्ट दिमाग में रखो, जहाँ पे अदर देन बिजनेस एनालिस्ट एंड हाँ वो सब भी यू होता है, बिजनेस एनालिस्ट ही एनालिस्ट. So business analyst is more from the IT side of it. It's not from the finance side of it. So so join my other webinars. I'll be discussing in this month only around the what are the different areas around investment banking and stuff like that. So there you will get more clarity around this. क्योंकि निधि this requires a detailed discussion, you know. इसमें वो डिटेल डिस्कशन चाहिए होगा. So guys, was it fruitful? Was this day, this 2 hours fruitful? Just let me know. Give me a quick A in the chat box if it was. Yeah, I hope it was. It is. And so कुछ नया सीखने को मिला? क्या नया सीखे? आप कोई बोल नहीं पाएगा. So what is the new thing that you guys have learned today? बोलो कुछ. Kavita says everything. Nidhi, the maximum size of loan that I had been associated with is for one project is 30,000 crores, 30, and then total is roughly 2.7 lakh crores. बिस्किट में भी फाइनेंस है, हाँ बिस्किट में भी फाइनेंस है. तो अभी जब भी बिस्किट खाओगे तो यू रिमेम्बर मी, राइट? एंड वो थॉट आएगा कि ये बिस्किट का कौन किसने बनाया. आप जो भी चीज देखोगे ना, जूता भी देखोगे, जूता का मैन्युफैक्चरिंग यूनिट कौन कौन बनाया होगा. सो दैट थॉट प्रोसेस विल ट्रिगर. आई एम प्रीटी श्योर अबाउट दैट. द फ्लो टू स्टार्ट आवर एनालिसिस, एब्सोल्युटली डॉली, right? How to analyze, right? Good guys. So I hope you love the session, and going forward, I will share more stuff around different other industries. So whoever is new and is not part of my Telegram group and would love to get informed about this set of webinars, I'm just sharing across the link. So just a second. For some reason, it's not happening. Yeah, so join this Telegram group, guys, and also join the Facebook group. And again, a piece of request: if you have liked today's session, just drop a word across in Facebook group so that it reaches to more people get benefited. And if you'd like to get to know about the sessions, move your mails. Sometimes it goes to the spam, from the spam to the प्राइमरी फोल्डर्स. शायद इतना नॉलेज एमबीए में नहीं मिला. एमबीए कुछ नहीं है. एमबीए तो मतलब वो तो देखो, पढ़ाई लिखाई लोग करने जाते हैं टाइम पास करने के लिए, और वो तो मतलब ये सब कॉलेजेस में टाइम पास होता है. हाँ, ये तो वी ऑल हैव गॉन थ्रू एंड वी ऑल नो. तो किसी का दोष नहीं है, उम्र का भी दोष है एक. उस उम्र भी कम होता है तब द प्रायोरिटीज आर डिफरेंट. बट वंस यू get older, the priorities gets to be different. So uh, Nishan, quote distribution, I didn't understand your question. Equity research as a career, great. Rajesh, I in fact had conducted a detailed webinar just on equity research. uh, Short-term courses are far more yielding. Yeah, if you see, it's all about the mentor and what experience the mentor had and what intent the mentor has in terms of sharing, right? So if you get a good mentor and if the mentor has the intent of sharing, so So then it can really make a lot of difference to someone's life and career, which I strongly believe. And that is the sort of mentor that I am trying to be for all of you. Rest is up to you how much of a benefit you guys are getting. So that time will say, right? So guys, thanks a lot. It's 11:15, so I hope you learned today something, and see you in the next webinar. So most probably the next webinar. So how many of you are, before I leave, how many of you are looking forward to learn how to write a detailed business plan? Give me a quick yes in the chat box, guys. If you're looking forward to write a detailed business plan. So I'll show you a detailed business plan which goes to roughly 250 uh, 250 PPT slides, So a very detailed one, a very interesting this thing. So I hope you'd be eager to learn that, right? So good. So the next session will be on that, right? And so guys, I'm trying to just show you the vastness of things, right? Avi, management consulting, I'll do it post that. नेक्स्ट वाला मैं ये वाला करूंगा. So we need there are lots of things which you know. There are lots of things which you know, but the lack of time you can't. Right. Yeah. Yeah, Dolly. Thanks. Thanks, guys. Good night. All the best, and see you most probably on Wednesday. Right. Good night. Bye.